I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Alright. Welcome everybody to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is a good friend, Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. Depending on who comes along, we'll see how we handle this show. But for the moment, guys, thank you for joining us. This is a early afternoon comfy, and I do mean comfy podcast. So guys, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about the Ramirez versus Taylor fight, or should I say Josh Taylor versus Jose Carlos Ramirez fight that will be taking place later tonight on ESPN. One of the best fights on paper we can get this year, and it's been quite a year, hasn't it been, folks? I mean, Oscar Valdez versus Berchelt, Chocolatito versus El Gallito Estrada, the rematch. Just a bunch of sensational fights. Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders. Now we get this one. So it's safe to say that the year has gotten off to a good start. Hopefully we'll continue this way. I mean, look, we already had two announcements. One a little bit intangible. You know, it's a Fury Wilder 3. It might happen. Supposedly Fury is going to be signing the contract either today or tomorrow. And of course we had the news that Pacquiao and Spence are going to tango later on late in the summer. So fellas, it's a good year so far when it comes to boxing. And before we get to that though, we're gonna be comparing, because we didn't do a show last evening. It was way too hot and I have things to do. So I say, you know what, let's save it for today in the afternoon. Nice comfy Saturday show, and compare and contrast Josh Taylor and Ramirez. We did the film analysis on Wednesday, and so this time we're going to compare their attributes, see if that can let us know who wins this fight. Before we get to that, however, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and send us a couple of shekels if you can via the super chat. Shout out to Saint Brit, Victor Bada, The Quags, I Am Feel, Saint Brit Sports, Lobito, I Am Feel, and many more people to come, I'm sure. You know what? I don't know if Gonzalo's there. I'm going to invite him. I'm going to start inviting a couple of people. I will be opening up the phone lines very, very soon so you guys can call in and give us your prediction about the fight. We are going to be taking predictions too, by the way. We're going to be taking predictions here. So we want to get to the bottom of all this. That's what we want to do. Hold on a second. Give me 2 seconds here. Calling a couple of people. See who shows up. I'm going to call King Buchu as well, just in case. Stu. All right. There we go. Oh, Jimmy, are you there? You're on the air, by the way. Jimmy, you're on the air, man.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on the air. Just yeah, just why I had a feeling he might not have been aware that he was on the air, so I had to.
I didn't. I was expecting a call.
Yeah, but it's Discord, man. Come on.
Oh man, I know. I didn't know, but I didn't even look at what it was. It was just ringing. It was upside down. I was expecting a call, and it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. I never would have thought it was you, brother. Sorry.
Right. Well, listen, we're doing a comfy show, so if you can, when you're ready, if you want to jump in, we're just gonna do one last overview here of Ramirez versus Taylor.
Sure thing.
All right, man. Shout out to Gonzalo as well. Gonzalo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm out here in the hospital, but I went out to my car for this one, so I'm out here.
Fantastic. Well, listen, this whole Ramirez versus Taylor thing really heated up these last couple of days. I mean, Taylor is trying to play the heel now. I'm sharing the screen here with you guys on Discord. This is what happened. First of all, Taylor got into it with Ramirez's manager, who's a bald guy. And apparently the bald guy was talking smack on the internet. I'm not quite sure what he said or if indeed we can confirm that. We're trying to look into this. But Taylor went after him in the face-off on Wednesday press conference. And then he started telling Ramirez, you look a little chunky, it looks like you can't make weight, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, they met up in the lobby, I believe after the weigh-in, according to this part here. So let's take a look at what happened here. So there you go, a little scuffle there. Josh Taylor walking up to Ramirez in the lobby of the hotel or arena, whatever it is, and shoving him back. So, Gonzalo, I'll start with you, man. Is this just Taylor being Taylor? Because he always had crazy eyes to me. I think the eyes tell a lot about a person. He did talk a lot of smack against Per Gray, but then again, so did Per Gray. Jesus M in the chat room says it looks staged. Well, what do you think, Gonzalo? Is this just him trying to rile himself up, Taylor, that is, or is there something genuine here?
Well, that's his style. Didn't he get into some controversy over calling some Chinese dude out in the bar? Then, yeah, he's got them crazy eyes. He also got like Scarface. He got a scar in that cheek. I don't know if he was a troublemaker back in the day, but he's a good fighter, and I think this is just a tactic because there's no reason why Jose Ramirez would. Why he would have to treat him like that? He didn't do nothing to him, right? So for what reason other than him trying to rile himself up for the moment?
Yeah, that's bizarre, man. Now again, some people say it looks staged because again they haven't some people are criticizing Top Rank for not only holding a fight and not allowing that many people in there and holding it in Vegas, but also criticizing them for not promoting this fight properly. So I can understand why some people would say that they suspect this might all be staged, but at the same time, like you said, Taylor, I don't know, man, he does seem like a little bit of a troublemaker to me. He's got those crazy ass, man. One of the worst pieces of advice I ever received in my life was never judge a book by its cover. And nowadays in my life, I've learned to do nothing but that. I judge a book on its cover and on its cover alone, because experience tells me that most of the time, the outside really does reflect the inner world. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Taylor?
That's funny as fuck. Now I do instantly judge you right now. No, listen, Taylor's a tough kid, man. He's just a fighter. You know what it is? Because, all right, you're not getting these kids out of prep school. I say it all the time. I mean, fighters come from usually tough areas. Probably comes from tough people, and he just doesn't like the shit that dude's. Ramirez manager, if you follow him on Twitter, he's kind of a funny dude. He does say a lot of funny shit. He likes to run his mouth a little, and Taylor just wasn't having it. So that's why I don't think if it was Ramirez trying to push some kind of fucking narrative out there, then you'd say maybe it was Top Rank behind this. Is this their pathetic way of trying to build this fight? In which I agree they did a horrible job promoting this fight. Not just promoting, keeping it in that location's terrible. I think it's organic. I think Taylor saw him, and, was walking by. He's like, "Oh, there he is," and walked over. Let's let him know. I didn't know it continued elsewhere, but yeah, I don't think it was staged. I think it was purely organic.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because especially when you consider the fact, like everything you said about him trying this type of tactics before a little bit, and also weighing, right? I mean, these guys weighed in. Taylor's a pretty tall dude. Might have struggled a bit to make it, and so maybe he's a little cranky. I mean, tensions are always high before and right after a weigh-in. So, right. By the way,
Fighters are moody as a motherfucker at that time. They're just miserable at that point.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, you sound a little muffled there, Jimmy. I don't know. Are you on speakerphone?
Okay, I'll change that.
Okay.
No, I'll change that. All right.
Fantastic. Uncle Bert Apostrophe says, how perverted did Bob look in between their first face-off after the final press? I don't know. I didn't see it, man. I gotta look for it now. By the way, Mario Barrios, who looks like a fucking gangster, by the way, in his press conference against Tank Davis. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this guy looks like he's chopping heads off in his spare time. He's picking Ramirez to win by decision. I'm surprised. I'm gonna give you my prediction right away. I think Josh Taylor is gonna beat Ramirez, but again, it's a close fight, man. So we'll see what happens. Also, Gonzalo, did you see that whole thing that I mentioned this in the Discord? When they faced off, Ramirez and Taylor, they both had sneakers on, pretty thick sneakers with thick soles. Taylor looks pretty much taller by at least an inch and a half. Well, what do you think? Is BoxRec lying that they're both the same height, or is one person lying? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know. Taylor does look taller though.
Yeah, and they're both, like I said, they're both wearing sneakers. So it would have been, if only one guy was wearing sneakers and the other guy was barefoot or whatever, or wearing sandals, I don't know, I would understand the difference. But nah, man, here it was something else. Hold on, let me. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna look for that later on. But if you guys see the face-off, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you look at BoxRec here, they have Ramirez as 5 feet 10 inches tall. And they say the same thing about Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor, 5 feet 10 inches tall. So somebody's lying over here, guys. And I don't like being lied to. I tend to get cranky, and I tend to do stupid things. And you don't want to see me do
it's like
stupid things.
BoxRec. They don't go measuring you. It's like your manager. They call BoxRec or BoxRec calls them. Then you just give your sizes for your fighter. That's how that works.
Yeah.
It's not like BoxRec goes out there and takes a measuring tape and anything like that.
Well, they could
Not
go
from
by.
what I know.
Right. But I mean, I do think the TV networks, they do tend to measure fighters before the fight or whatever. Like, I know HBO used to do that. So maybe BoxRec should go with that instead of going by what the info that their handlers tell them. I don't know. But see here, I'm showing a picture here from Boxing Scene. Ramirez looks shorter, man. And on top, he's got the rooster haircut, which is supposed to add a couple of inches to his game. And even then, he looks shorter. So, I don't know, man. By the way, Gonzalo, wouldn't you like to have that type of haircut? I used to have something similar back in the day with the hair all the way back. But then I stopped because it was too much work, too much fucking gel or salve to put on your hair. But that's a pretty cool looking haircut, ain't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's like a mid fade.
Yeah. You go for the comb over, right? You use a comb.
To the side, yeah, but I get the fade. Not
Like
as much as I used to. I started wearing that type of hairstyle prior to the military when Oscar De La Hoya was rocking that haircut.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was necessarily the mushroom, but it was like not even a flat top. It was just like the bowl cut. It's like a high fade, Oscar De La Hoya.
Mm-hmm.
Then like later I got into the military and I just kept getting fades every week. But now that I'm older here in the Philippines, I'm not cutting my hair as often as I used to before. I guess because I'm married now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't necessarily be looking tip top, trying to be a player. What do you call it?
Yeah, I get what you're
Picking
saying.
up on the chicks.
Yeah. By the way, John Gonzalez in the chat says BDA uses a toupee now. I do not use a toupee. I have a full head of hair. Thank you very much. And I have what we call, I don't know how you call it in other parts of Mexico, Gonzalo, but I call it copete. I got a copete. It's all to the side, nice and shiny. Believe me, it looks good. All right, take my word for it. Shout out to Luke Peterson, donating with the super chats, and says, Gonzalo, did you get KO'd via karate chop? Oh man, people keep wanting. Gonzalo, you're gonna have to tell that story one of these days. People want to hear it. It's the second time somebody's donated with a super chat just to ask about the karate chop
I was
story.
just drunk. I was drunk and I was walking in downtown Savannah. Me and my friend, we raced two other guys drinking like fish bowls. It's a big bowl, kind of like where you pull the goldfish, but they fill it with liquor. So we had a competition where, we could see which two guys could outdo the other two. So we partnered up. There were some girls there too. Obviously, it wasn't just all fucking dudes. But yeah, and then I got drunk and I had got into an argument with one of my friends that was in the opposing team. And we were drinking the drinks, and all of a sudden I blacked out. I flipped over a chair.
Oh.
They threw us out, and I was walking down the street, and I crashed into somebody. It was probably most likely my fault. I hit that guy, and I remember he wobbled, and there's like a lot of military. And from what I remember, I know that it was a giant of a guy, and from what people told me, he must have been around 6'5". Then he just came down on my neck with the karate chop, and I guess it must have cut the circulation on my carotid artery. Is that what you call it?
The but I'm gonna check out the name. Just I don't want to butcher it.
Or just the bluntness of the blow coming down. 'Cause it was a karate chop. That's one way, BDA, that if you fight in the street, I seen guys slap with the palm of their fist with the thick part almost to the wrist. But with the karate chop, you can strike somebody and not hurt your hand. But this guy was tall, so you can create a lot of leverage. You have to have the right size to be able to do that. Get a lot of power.
I would always be afraid to try the karate chop in a street fight, because then you look like an idiot if it doesn't work. Like trying to hit the right spot, meanwhile the other guy's punching you in the balls. I mean, I wouldn't risk it. But I think Jimmy said in another, when you mentioned that, or somebody mentioned the karate chop, I think he said that if you hit a guy hard enough, you could do it. So I imagine a guy who's 6 feet 5 inches tall, probably a big dude, weighing 200 pounds, could probably get that done.
Yeah, coming down like a Deontay Wilder punch, but straight down. Obviously.
Speaking of Deontay Wilder, we're gonna get to that, but before that, I see we got Recognize in the house. Recognize, are you there?
I'm here.
Fantastic. All right, so we got now we're cooking.
Why so early?
Why so early? Well, because we didn't do a show yesterday, so I said, you know what? Let's give the people a little show here, get our official predictions, and then we will go off from there. I do have to leave at about 1:00 though, so I think we should make this snappy here. And speaking of snappy, let's get down to it. We're gonna compare and contrast Ramirez and Taylor, and find out who's who, right? Who has a better stamina? You guys know the drill. So let's get to it here. There we go. All right. So we got a couple of attributes here for each guy. We're gonna be choosing who has the better speed, power, ring IQ, etc. Remember, guys, let's try to refrain from doing ties here. We have to pick one. We have to pick one guy. We'll have to do our best, all right? So, can everybody see the screen, by the way, that I'm sharing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Recognize just jumped off. I think it's his way of saying fuck this. All right, so let's start with speed. When we're talking hand speed over here, or if you want to really make it complicated, overall speed of explosiveness, speed, whatever. But I suggest we stick to hand speed. Who has the better hand speed? Whose punch gets there quicker? Ramirez?
I think Taylor myself is a little quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I don't think speed's going to be much of an issue in this fight. It's not like either one are known for their, blazing speed. The more thudding punches than they are snapping.
Yeah, neither guy is what you would call a speed demon. Gonzalo, what do you think?
You said to refrain from ties, but with these guys,
come on,
it's all down the middle. It's all down the middle, man. It's weird. Even the weigh-in, fucking 139.6 is crazy. Hey, they're not speed demons, but they are quick. They are quick. Both of these guys, they're fast. I can't say, man.
They're in their physical.
I'm just gonna say
prime.
Josh Taylor. I'm gonna say Josh Taylor slightly.
Right. Listen, they're in their physical prime, so they're about as quick as they're gonna get. Recognize, what do you think? Who has a better speed?
It's true what Gonzalo was saying. They're pretty even, and they're not like speed demons, like Jimmy said as well. But they are fast for their boxing style. They do what they got to do pretty quick. But I think Josh might be slightly faster.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just deception. I don't know, but it seems that way.
I like how Recognize is calling him Josh by his first name. You're turning into Max Kellerman.
That's
man.
my boy, Josh. You know what I'm saying? Josh.
You're turning into Max Kellerman. Andre is so fast. He's so great.
Andre is the epitome of boxing science.
Oh man! And then he starts freestyling.
Is that? I don't even know what that means. No, I do know what it means, but go ahead.
All right, we got Official in the house as well. Official, are you there?
Official.
That's his way of telling me to fuck off. The silence is his way
asshole,
of
I'm here.
He's calling me an asshole.
Like,
No, I think he's setting up
asshole,
his.
I'm right here.
I think he's setting up his audio because he's got some interesting audio interface. But okay, look, listen. For the moment, I think we all agree. I think he's gonna agree with us. Say Taylor's speed. So let's go with the speed advantage going to Taylor. By the way, most people in the chat room agree. They say Taylor. I think a couple of people, only 2 people, are saying that he's faster. But for the most part, people went with Taylor. Don't forget to hit the like button, people. Hit the like. Shout out to John Gonzalez donating with a super chat. And he says, pretty sure it was recognized that karate chopped Gonzalo. Sounds like something he would do. That makes no sense, John.
I would never do that to Gonzalo. Never.
Exactly.
Never.
Hey.
I wouldn't do that.
But that would be a good fight, though. The Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry rekindled. Come on, man.
Yeah, I gotta watch out with the body because it looks like Gonzalo hits good to the body, so that's what I gotta be careful with.
Yeah, man. He'll dig with that left to the liver, man. They want to take that shot.
Yeah, like looks like he's deceptive when he gets there.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go with power. That's interesting. Who has the better power? Now, this one I will say this before everybody goes. I said no ties, but this one looks a bit like a tie. I would agree with Gonzalo if there's a tie here. But, well, let's see. Gonzalo, what do you think?
I'm going to say Josh Taylor.
Oh, all right. Pulling the trigger on that one. Recognize, what do you think?
Gonzalo's putting pressure on me now because at least he made a pick. Damn, this is tough, bro.
All right, well, let's look at the
Taylor slightly. I don't even know if that's true, man. Damn.
Well, I'll tell you this, though, to muddy the waters even further, Victor Postal did an interview with Ring Magazine where he compared each guy. I don't necessarily know if it was power, it was very ambiguous, but he said that Ramirez was a stronger guy compared to Taylor, which was a surprising answer, but hey, he's the one that fought.
Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna go with what Postal say, and I'm gonna say Ramirez because he fought both of those guys, so he would know.
Yeah. All right, so we got a little bit of a split here. Jimmy, what do you think? Who has a better power?
Yeah, but didn't no, he didn't. Taylor didn't stop fucking. Yeah,
He did drop him.
Taylor dropped Postal, right?
Yes.
That's correct. Yep.
Ramirez stunned him.
Ramirez didn't though, did he?
No, but he stunned him though.
No.
He stunned him with a.
Now I wonder if power means. Okay, for instance, like Sergey Kovalev, right? He had great punching power, but you tied up with him, you realized he didn't. It all comes down to the sticks, the legs. You know what I mean? That's where when you're in a huddle there, when you're fucking grabbing each other and shit, so you can move each other around. So maybe Ramirez felt stronger. He's got pretty good legs on him. But as punching power, I'd have to give, again, slight edge to Taylor. I just think he delivers at a little extra speed, and he throws his punches with a little better intentions. But that might not be against somebody as talented as Ramirez, though. He might hold back on that because when you load up, you leave yourself exposed if you don't connect.
Mm-hmm. Man, let's go with Official. Let's see what he says. Official, you there?
Yes, I am. Hello, BA and everybody. Yeah, so look, I would give an advantage to, what's his name, Jose Ramirez, because he has a better power, more explosive when he has the room for his punches, when he has the room to extend his arms. But it comes back to what Jimmy just said about being smothered. So maybe that's when he would not have power, as much power. But yeah, punching power Ramirez for me.
All right, here's what I'm gonna do, because you guys are bringing up very good points. That being said, I'm gonna have to make a decision here, executive decision, and I'm gonna give the edge to Taylor. Not to say Ramirez doesn't punch well, but I'm gonna have to give it to Taylor because we don't want to spend too much time on this. But I will say it's interesting though. Ramirez was able to stun postal with a straight shot. Remember that shot that we were talking about where he actually turns southpaw and then goes with a straight left? Meanwhile, Taylor loaded up on it and dropped postal. So it seems like they both have slightly equal power, but I'm gonna say nah. I'm gonna say Taylor. You just have to make a decision there. All right, ring IQ, meaning who's smarter, who knows how to implement the game plan better, who makes changes on the fly midway through the fight, who's more versatile. Let's start with Gonzalo. Gonzalo, who do you think has the advantage when it comes to ring IQ?
Josh Taylor, and this is something that I hear a lot of people echoing, that he can do it from the outside and he can fight on the inside only because he loves fighting. If you wanna exchange it with him and draw him into like a toe-to-toe battle, he'll go for that. But he actually can box from the outside. So I think ring IQ, I mean, they're both experimented. Taylor can throw any kind of punch and knock you out or hurt you. I mean, left hook, right hook to the body, upstairs, straight punches with either hand. I mean, you name it. So I'm just gonna say Josh Taylor.
All right, Gonzalo going with Josh Taylor when it comes to versatility and ring IQ. Jimmy, what do you think?
Again, I'm going to give the nod to Taylor because after I went back and watched a couple of, just, skimmed through a few of their fights, I noticed Taylor's much better at not smothering his attack. I think he knows his space better. I think when he wants to load up, he's a little better at. That's a few things about Ramirez I don't like when he gets like really work on someone. Maybe just the stuff that I happened to glance over, but it seemed like he smothered his work more. So I don't know. I'm just going to give that edge to Taylor.
Okay. Official, how about you?
Yeah, so Ramirez's ring IQ is not bad. It's good, but people falsely believe that falsely believe that his ring IQ is better than Taylor's. And it's not for the reason that, look, like we saw in the film study show the other night. He's doing some smart things in the ring, but those smart things that he's doing in the ring, I do believe that they are a result of him doing some very clever drills in training, but it does not equal a ring IQ. While I've seen Taylor reacting many better in many different ways in the ring, so I go with Taylor.
All right. Recognize?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it slightly to Taylor. I think, like for all the reasons you guys just said, official said, how fighting on the inside and the outside, he seems to do it better. He doesn't smother his work. That's part of ring IQ. All that stuff is part of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you fellas. Like Jimmy said, Josh Taylor's work on the inside seems cleaner. Just look at how he was able to go at Prograis. Also, Prograis admitted that his plan going into the Taylor fight was to box from the outside, but Taylor made him fight on the inside. So that goes to Taylor's ring IQ too, that he was able to make Prograis fight his fight. Also, I may add, like you guys were saying, he can fight from the outside. Not only that, like if he gets hurt or whatever, he can move around the ring a little bit, buy some time. Ramirez is not going to be able to do that. Like if he starts getting beat up at his own game, what's he gonna do? Can he move back? Can he outbox Taylor? Can he use his legs to buy some time? I don't. Doesn't seem like it. So and like Gonzalo said, he can do the straight punches thing. He can slug it out on the inside up close. So I'm gonna have to agree and go with Taylor here. Ring IQ advantage goes to him. All right, experience. Who has a better experience, Gonzalo?
Well, this is also a tough one. I don't recall what their amateur resume is or are for these two guys, but I know that they were both like Olympians in their respective countries.
They were both
good amateurs. And professionally, Taylor has fought maybe slightly the tougher competition, but he got the lesser fights. And by no means is Ramirez professional record like not good. I mean, it is really good too. The level of competition that he's faced. Even fighting tough against a left-hander in Cepeda is experience. That prepares you for this type of fight. beating tough against Postal and beating Amir Imam and Maurice Hooker, that's an excellent resume as well. So experience, I'm just going to have to say Ramirez because he got the more professional fights. But then again, that's just my opinion. There's really kind of even as well.
Right, right. Jimmy, what do you think? Because this seems to be like a case of volume versus quality. Ramirez has more volume, but Taylor seems to have slightly better wins on his... what do you think?
Well, I mean, if you go by experience, meaning who's going to be less, I don't know how to say, like, you get fight nerves, night nerves, the same, big light nerves, some people call it, because you're under the big lights. But Ramirez is fighting in his own country, and regardless of the level of competition, he's been in more fights, and he's been in big crowds. He's been doing it a little longer. So if, quantity equals, experience equals, then I would say I'd give a slight edge to Ramirez. But the same token, that kind of falls under ring IQ too. But yeah, so in this one, I'll give that to Ramirez from the number of fights he's had.
All right, so we got two Ramirez's here. Official, what do you think?
Man, that's a very tough call for the reasons that all of you mentioned, BDA. I mean, yeah, Ramirez has the volume, a bigger volume, and kind of has the advantage because he already boxed. I mean, he's been boxing in the U.S. So, but on the other hand, what could change it for Taylor if he succeeded in getting to Jose Ramirez's head and getting him angry and making him fight dumb, fun, stupid, then it could equalize the things. So I'm kind of undecided. If I have to, I cannot. It's equal to me. I'm undecided.
Mm-hmm. All right. You have to, but if you had to pick, you're forced to. I'm forcing you. Let's put it that way. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, being that the fight is in the U.S. Ramirez.
Oh, okay. So we got three. I'm surprised. Recognize. How about you, man?
Yeah, man. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one, and the experience. You could look at it two ways. You could say Ramirez has good names on his resume, and he's maybe had more fights. Taylor's had the tournament, and that's the one thing that I take into consideration is that he was in the junior welterweight tournament, and he came out on top. I mean, they're both really close, but I think that's what's gonna edge it for me. So in other words, he went into that tournament understanding that there's no room for error. Same thing you could say with Ramirez. Ramirez has faced top competition where, he can't lose these fights if he wants to get to the position that he's in right now. But so I'm going to slightly, not that I disagree totally with what the guys are saying, but I'm going to give that slight edge because he entered that tournament and he came out victorious and he won. I'll give him the slight edge in terms of the experience, which kind of falls into to the category of ring IQ as well. And so, yeah, slight edge for Taylor.
Yeah, I would have gone with the I would have gone with the edge for Taylor too, because if you look at Ramirez's opponents, Amir Imam and Orozco, that was good tough guys. Then he had the Cepeda fight, which he almost lost. Yeah, Cepeda, Postol, Maurice Hooker.
He's got a good resume, bro.
Good resume, right? But Taylor beat up El Títere Vasquez, who's a very tough guy to look good against, and he stopped him. Ryan Martin, Baranchik, Postal, Prograis. I would have given him the edge, but look, 3 people against 2. We gotta go with Ramirez, and it's a good argument.
And then on top of that, he beat. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, he beat Prograis in a very close fight. That to me, that fight was super close. It could have won either way.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Taylor won, but it was a close fight. But he beats Prograis, a guy who was possibly the number 1, number 2 guy. To me, I still see him in the top 3 best junior lightweights.
Yeah, but I do agree with
Sorry,
the other guys too
just
as well.
quickly. I think I'm going to change my pick to
No, don't do that.
to Josh Taylor because style-wise, he knows Ramirez's style better than the other way around. I think that style-wise, if you take away all the other things around them, outside of the ring, inside the ring, Taylor stand it all. And yeah, I would go with Taylor.
Well, now I'm actually starting to change my mind a little bit because the arguments that Jimmy and Gonzalo made were very good arguments in terms of the overall volume and the fact that yes, I will agree that Taylor's opposition is better, but like Jimmy and Gonzalo were saying, Ramirez ain't that far off. Plus, he's got a bit more fights, and whether you think that the tomato cans and the journeyman he beat on the way up were obviously not as good as Pergray and Barachik and all that, it still adds extra volume and depth to his resume. So that's why I was gonna go with it. I was gonna agree with him, but now we're at a bit of a stalemate here. Let's go to Jimmy. What do you say, man?
Well, I mean, experience. Like I mean, regardless of everything you experience getting ready for fight, from the training camp, the weigh-in, just getting acclimated to your body. Just all that. To me, adds experience, and that's why I'm giving the nod to Ramirez. Yes, Taylor has fought the better guys, but the same token, I agree with the decision. I had Taylor edging that fight, but a lot of people did think Prograis won that fight. So it wasn't like he dominated all that top talent. Again, for overall experience, and I count everything from the weigh-ins, getting acclimated to the body, weight, the changes, the environment. I'm going to stick with Ramirez.
Gonzalo, how about you, man? Any last comments on the experience and the little conundrum we got on our hands here?
No, it's just that close. But I'm just going to have to say that Ramirez has fought more times, and with the things that Jimmy was mentioning, those are the reasons why. Just prepare and be there. Like, for example, he was supposed to fight Postal, and he was in training camp 3 times, right? So that's kind of experience in the sense. He was during the pandemic. The fight didn't take place, but he did 3 training camps.
That's true. Yeah,
that's just an example that I can think of.
Right, because most people think when we talk experience, like in-ring experience, but outside the ring experience can also play a factor. So I'm gonna go with the unconventional pick here. Change my mind. I'm gonna go with Ramirez. That's what I'm gonna do. How about that? All right, let's go with foot movement. Now it's an interesting one here because we said movement. It means, well, you think about who moves faster, right? Or who's the more dynamic. But it can also mean who has the better balance and who plants their feet better when they punch and so on and so forth. So don't let the flash fool you. Gonzalo, what do you think? Who has the better feet in this fight?
I was noticing, and this is a reason why Josh Taylor has power in his punches. He plants his feet when he punches. He places his feet on the canvas and he bends his knees, and he delivers his shots with power. And also, because he's a left-handed fighter, and this is going to be interesting how they're going to line up because the other guys are right-hander as far as the stances. So Taylor got that going for him, and like you mentioned, he positions his legs wide, but that works for him. And the good thing about that, if you position your legs wide, that means you can keep the fighter on the outside. Your opponent's not going to be able to get on your chest that easily, which takes a little bit off Ramirez's punches because Ramirez has got to extend his arms to make that liver shot reach the target. Because if Taylor got them feet wide apart, that means you can't really get close to him as you would like. So I would have to say Taylor's got that going for him. But, Ramirez, he's a little bit more mobile. And he can chase you down. If he got you hurt, he can keep pressuring you, and he's got good balance. He punches on the fly a little bit more as opposed to Taylor when he sits down on the punches, but he still generates power because as he's displacing himself, I'm not saying he's like Manny Pacquiao, but I'm saying that's one thing that Manny Pacquiao, he moves, and he's generating inertia when he punches. That's what Ramirez does. So it's not like we talk about foot movement, like you got a back foot fighter that's going to get on the bicycle, is going to run all day, and that's why they need to have good feet. No, because they're going to come forward, and it's all about who's going to gauge what distance. But since one's a righty and a lefty, this is really interesting. It's down the middle as well. So I cannot call this one. But if you ask me, I'm just gonna say Taylor slightly.
All right. All right. Taylor, because of the more dynamic and the fact that, like he said, Southpaw, he's going to try to use that angle along with the footwork to create a difficult angle or a difficult target for Ramirez. Jimmy, what do you think? Who has a better feet in this fight?
Well, I don't think either one of them have balance issues. I've never really seen either one of them get pushed off or go flying if they miss a punch. I don't know. It's just, I mean, at this point, for footwork on either one, I'd probably flip a coin. It's that close. So if I have to pick somebody, I don't know. I'll go with fucking Taylor.
All right. I
but
appreciate
again, it's just down the middle.
Input.
I didn't need to swear. I know.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say the swearing, man. Come on.
Yeah, no swearing, man. No swearing.
Sorry,
you
man.
know, like it's terrible. It's
Official
terrible stuff, you know.
Terrible. Official,
Yeah,
what
for
do you
me,
think?
definitely it's gonna be Taylor. I mean, already in the film study we did the other night, I told you what I've seen from him at a long distance, etc. But even you know, his foot speed and his footwork are not that quick, you know, and easy to read what he's setting up. So I would definitely say Taylor.
Okay. Okay. Recognize. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's. I mean, they don't really have any. Like Jimmy said, there's no balance issues going on there. These are not guys that trip over their own foot. They're not like hurting themselves because of their footwork. But if I had to give the edge slightly, it would be Josh Taylor because I've seen him do some good work with his feet, like switching from one stance to the other. He does that pretty fluid where Ramirez does it. He's basically in that one stance. He could switch stances if he has to, but it looks like Taylor has a little bit more command of that. He does it a little faster. So when you're faster with your footwork, as in compared to the other guy who's got good footwork, but he's not as fast as you, so you give him the slight edge.
All right.
Taylor.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, fellas. I think Taylor has better feet, and I will say Ramirez, like we saw in the film analysis, he tends to be on his heels a little bit, which it becomes very apparent when he starts getting his head snapped back. He sort of stops in his tracks, and you can tell his weight's a little bit on his heels. So, and also this plays into the ring IQ, which is that Taylor's a little bit more versatile. He can move forward, backward. So I'm gonna go ahead and say foot. But that's not to say that Ramirez doesn't plant his feet well when he punches, because that's how he generates power. So, but I'm just gonna, like you guys said, slight edge here to Taylor. Now we get into the chin. Both guys have fought punchers. They have taken cracks to the chin. Gonzalo, who do you think has a better chin?
I'm just gonna slightly give it to Jose Ramirez. Although he's been dropped one time, I cannot count that against him. It was like a flash knockdown where he just basically took a knee. That was down in TJ, and when he was first starting, and one of his within the first 10 fights that happened, I think. But anything after that with the come forward style and that incessant pressure, he's not fearing that even though he's coming forward, that he might take a punch, because when you come forward like that, you're at risk at getting hit back more than if you're like a safety first fighter. So he's been catching punches, but he seems unfazed, and I've never seen him hurt. And he just got a tough beard. You can just tell that the guy, something about him that the guy's not gonna. Not to say that he can't get hurt, because I mean he's fucking human, but I just get the impression that the guy's got a good chin, and Taylor he's also he's resilient. I mean, he got hurt by Baranchik where he was clearly hurt. He clearly was on Bambi legs, but he got hard, and he's resilient because he was able to shake off the cobwebs and regather himself and beat Baranchik. So not to say that just because you got rattled and you were hurt, but then you came out of that means that you have a bad chin. He don't. That could actually mean that he's got a good chin. But I'm just saying that Ramirez, he's coming forward and he seems unfazed. Like he has shown no signs of getting hurt. So I'm just gonna have to say Ramirez.
It's a good point about Ramirez having to come forward. Usually, guys don't make it on with that style and becoming undefeated. They don't get to that point if they have a bad chin. Usually, Jamay, what do you think?
My thing is, you never go against a Mexican when it comes to chin.
Oh,
Something about those fucking you people. You guys can take major shots to the dome. No, I mean seriously, how many fucking chinny Mexican champions have you ever heard of? Right? I mean, think about it. That's always been the Mexican. That's part of the way they raise them fighters. You know? So, I mean, it's part of the hubris. That's part of the thing, the lore of a Mexican fighter, is they bring it to the ring. You can knock them out, but you better do something special to do it. So for just chin to chin, who would take, if you both could deliver the same amount of power on the end of the button, I'd probably I'd just, off that, I'd give it to Ramirez.
Well,
plus Banchak had him on Bambi legs, and I've never seen Ramirez on Bambi legs.
To your point, Jose in the chat says UK glass chin is real. Ah, come on, we're gonna go there with the fucking again UK versus Mexico. Shout out to Steven Schneider, by the way, who donated the super chat. He says the good big man beats the good small man here, in my opinion. All right, shout out to Steven Schneider, and don't forget, fellas, please hit the like button. Hit the like, it really helps us out. All right. We got two Ramirez's here. Official, what do you think?
Man, that's another extremely tough one to choose. If we are talking literally chin to chin, I mean, they both got tough chins. Plus, if you add into account the punching power of each other, I would favor Ramirez. But on the other hand, if we are not talking literally about the chin, but how they're taking all the punches in general, on the other hand, you should add Josh Taylor's bodywork, which is so precise. And man, that's really another one that could go either way to me. I don't know, but if I have to choose one, to pick one, I'm not sure, man. Impossible. I suck at this.
Nothing is impossible if you put your mind to it. We'll go back to you. Let's go to Reckoners. Reckoners, what do you think?
Yeah, the chin thing is really good too. That's a really good debate between the two guys. You know, I'm probably gonna slightly go with Ramirez. Maybe some of that has to do with he's Mexican, like Jimmy said, but I think also I've never really seen. I know he got dropped in TJ like Gonzalo said. He said that happened early in his career, so I'm not gonna hold that against him. Since he's been fighting top competition, I haven't really seen him hurt, you know, and not to say that Taylor, you know, Taylor's almost been knocked out or whatever, but he's been hurt. You know what I'm saying? He did get hurt a couple of times. It's tough, man. It could go either way because Taylor got a lot of heart. He's shown a good chin, but I'm probably gonna go slightly with Ramirez Ramirez to pull it out. I say that he has the better chin and slightly better chin. The fight might come down to that. You know what I'm saying? Don't be surprised if the fight comes down to that. You know, not saying that one would knock out the other, but the fight could be inches, and it could be, you know, the chin comes into play.
That's interesting, man. That's I seem to agree. I agree with that. Rather, I agree with that. Official, what do you have you come to a decision? Because you gotta make one, man.
Well, not really, but let's say this. So, oh fuck. Let's say that I'm not considering only their chins, but the punching power as well. And there, I would give an advantage to Jose Ramirez. On the other hand, Taylor may do very well by not getting hit. So fuck, let's say Ramirez.
I just want to add that I've noticed how the Frenchmen can swear, but I can't. But just wanted to say that. Just wanted to point that out.
Sacre bleu. No, I said, what's with the language today? Sacre bleu.
It sounds.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I apologize.
It sounds better.
Here's the thing with that, official. I think that Taylor punches slightly harder than Ramirez, but I think Ramirez slightly takes a shot better than Taylor does. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, because we gave the power to Taylor, but now we're going to... Okay, let's. By the way, now we're about 6 people here.
In other
so we
words,
got-
Ramirez can take a better shot. Ramirez can take a better shot, but Taylor could probably dish out a harder shot slightly.
Okay. Now we got Mark here. So we're 6 people. So we gotta speed it up a little bit when we give our the justifications for their picks. All right. So Mark, just to make it final here with the chin, who do you think has the better chin, Taylor or Ramirez?
Josh Taylor, because I've seen Ramirez work multiple times. I've seen him dropped, and I've seen him dropped in the amateurs.
Okay.
Twice.
So that's Mark's justification. Unfortunately for him, most people went with Ramirez, and I do understand the argument made by especially by Jimmy and Gonzalo. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and concur with the majority here and go with the chin advantage to Ramirez.
Remember, these guys are so neck to neck that we're just guessing at this point, right? We're going an educated guess, but it's still a guess.
That's right. And that's the beauty of it, is they're gonna fight today. So most of these questions are sure to be answered. Stamina. Gonzalo, who do you think has the best gas tank in this fight?
Jesus, I would have to say Ramirez, because he's coming forward, he's applying pressure, and he's got the will to win. But I mean, look, Taylor was in a war of attrition with Prograis, and until the very end, they were fighting hard. And he's also got a good stamina. But I'm just gonna say that for some reason, I think that Ramirez, his stamina is like, I don't know, how can I explain it? Like, it's just superior to most fighters.
All right.
Does that look? Might I seem a little off because when he fought Postal, he couldn't quite throw as many punches as we're used to seeing that, that the guy can throw. He didn't look spectacular. But I think that Taylor's gonna be right there to fight back. But if you have to say, on the exchanges, I think that Ramirez is gonna apply more pressure, and I'm pretty sure that he's gonna keep that pressure up if it goes a full 12 rounds. So I'm just gonna have to say, stamina wise, Ramirez.
All right. So he's going with Ramirez. By the way, it's so weird. Gonzalo, I don't know if you guys see the same thing. He's got the muted icon, but I could hear him. I think it's
I saw it.
I think it's a Discord glitch. Hopefully, you guys heard him though, right? You guys could hear him.
Yeah, I heard him.
Okay, fantastic.
I couldn't hear him.
Okay, guys, recognize, man. You're gonna make me swear, man. You're gonna make me break my rule.
No, I'm just saying I couldn't hear him, man. I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
just didn't hear him.
All right. Let's go to Jimmy. Jimmy, who do you think has the better stamina coming into this fight?
Ramirez.
Ramirez.
I mean, that's been his go-to. That's what most guys who fought him have said. They just can't believe his motor. Like, he's one of those guys who just keeps coming and coming. I've never seen it. And again, not to say that Taylor doesn't, but because he's only had 17 fights, I just haven't seen him in as many fights. So, but again, like to recognize said, these guys are so close across the board, so it makes it such an intriguing fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to stick with Ramirez on that one.
All right, we got 2 Ramirez's here. Official, how about you? Stamina.
Yeah, BDA. So it looks like you're making me gun shy with these questions because so tough to decide. But yeah, Ramirez probably, because now it may be the case with Ramirez too. In some of his fights, I cannot recall very well, but I do remember for sure that Taylor, who do I rate as a fighter who has a very good gas tank, in the last 2 rounds of his fight, both with Postal as well as against Regis Prograis, seemed a little bit winded, and I remember giving Prograis the last 2 rounds, but again, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was because of Taylor's gas tank, but rather of Prograis being another guy with a great gas tank. I don't know for sure, but yeah, I'm going with Ramirez.
All right, 3 Ramirez's. Recognize? How about you, man?
Another tough one. I think all the categories are really fucking tough. I think Ramirez only for this reason. I think Taylor purposely, maybe he has less stamina. He's more of an explosive. There's a lot going on with him. There's a lot of body movement. his punches are more explosive. And when I say explosive, they're like more. You can hear them, and you can see that he's putting a lot of effort into it. So it's not stamina like in versus. It's not a situation where, conditioning is a problem there. That's not the issue. See, Taylor's trying to do a lot to you in a round. He's trying to do more where Ramirez is trying to do a lot to you, but he's trying to do it at this one pace, not break out of that pace. So slight edge in terms of like consistency, because I've seen Taylor wear down in fights late, maybe because he was so explosive in the earlier rounds. One of those fights that comes to mind is the Prograis fight. But it's not by much, and I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it'll mean that much in the fight. I mean, and I say that cautiously, meaning he doesn't get hurt or anything like that. But I'm gonna give it slightly to Ramirez, slight edge, but I think it's you could take either guy with that one, and you wouldn't be necessarily wrong.
All right. We got a whole bunch of Ramirez here. Mark, who would you pick in stamina?
I don't know, great points by everybody. I think both was quite even. I would say Josh tends to throw more punches than Ramirez. Which may catch people by surprise. And in round 12 against Prograis, he threw more punches in the 12th round against Prograis than Ramirez did in the second half of his fight against Zepeda and Postal. In any of those rounds, take your pick. And that was in the 12th. So I'd edge it Taylor, but I don't know. Maybe it's because Taylor doesn't take as much damage coming in.
Yeah, it could also be that Taylor fights more close on the inside, where targets right there was Ramirez.
He's doing a lot more in these rounds. If you think about it, he does a lot more. So if he gets
Ramirez,
if he does get tired, because if he's getting tired, it's just natural that he would get a little more tired because he's doing a lot more damage. Not a lot more damage. You know what I'm saying? He's doing a lot more to damage you in a round where Ramirez is at one pace.
If I had to pick, I would give it to Taylor because he's gone 12 rounds with Postal, Baranchik, Prograis. I mean, those were three of the best guys he could have fought at the time. Three hard,
very grueling fights.
Yes, exactly. Grueling fights, and he went the distance. And I do agree, like with official too, I think Prograis won. I remember the 11th round, but I do remember giving him the 12th round. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that Taylor didn't try. It just maybe means that Prograis landed the better.
He outthrew Prograis in the final round, but he got outlanded. Prograis was landing cleaner work.
I just want to add something really quickly about that fight. Now, I was watching it just a couple of days ago, and from what I've seen in that fight, in those two last rounds, especially the last one, was Taylor who was hugging too much. I mean, not too much, but he was really looking for the breaks. And the way he was throwing his punches, it was telling me that he was winded. Yeah, he still threw a lot of punches for sure. I do agree with Mark, but I'm just saying why I thought he was winded in the last two rounds.
All right. Well, listen, this executive decision has to be made here. An executive decision has to go. I have to go with the majority here. So we're going to give, because again, like we said, doesn't mean Taylor doesn't have good stamina, but it's just people make good arguments on both sides, and most people pick Ramirez, so we're going to give him the stamina. Now we get to mental strength. Now, how can this be defined? Well, who's gone?
Come on. This is going to be tough, man.
Well, we got to do it. Gonzalo, mental strength. Who has the edge in mental strength?
Jesus, that's another one, especially since they're both undefeated. And Ramirez, okay, for example, he's found the will to win in close fights. I really do think that he beat Postal. And then again, that style is hard for anybody because you know how Postal fights. And Chon Cepeda, come to find out, he's a badass fighter. He got good wins against Baranchik, and who else he beat? What's the guy that Gervonta Davis beat? The Sniper Pedraza. and he made it tough on Ramirez. So fucking Chon Cepeda, he's good, but then Ramirez has been able to overcome, fights like that, like the Cepeda and the Postal, where he's found the will to win. And Taylor, when he's gotten hurt, he's been resilient, like I mentioned earlier, and he's also found that will to win. So, we can't really say who got the bigger heart. Only God knows that. But in the sense that they're undefeated, we don't know. I mean, Taylor does play the tough guy role, and I'm not gonna say that's the knock, that's a weakness, because obviously he's doing that to get into the other guy's brain, and he's doing a good job about it because he's talking this. He's how's the saying go? You talk the talk, you walk the walk, and he's walked the walk before when he's acted like this. So he's trying to get under Jose Ramirez's skin, but Jose Ramirez's camp will tell you that this is a sign that they're nervous. But I can't really say that it is what they're saying either. So mental strength, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a hard one to call. I can't even say one guy's stronger than argument to tell you why that is. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, man. And I agree. It's a close call, like most of these categories. But that's why we're in this position, because we make the hard decisions, man. We gotta pick here. So I'm gonna go back to you, Gonzalo. Jimmy, who do you think has a better heart coming into this fight? The mental fortitude here.
That I would always have to say that I add up by level of competition. The people who can survive, who's been in there against the tougher guys, and without a doubt, I think, especially with 17 fights, Taylor's been in there with tougher competition, and I think tougher competition always pushes you mentally as much as physically. Winner, Taylor. I'm out.
Oh, all right. By the way, fellas, don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the like.
I already did.
All right,
did everybody else? Yeah, I bet you didn't.
I already did. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
there
you,
you go.
Yeah, I did. I don't know why everybody else hasn't.
Of course you did, Mark. You lead by example.
That's right. 3 soldiers right there. Official, what do you think?
I am the example.
Yeah, so both of them fighters are definitely showing a lot of heart in the ring, and Ramirez too. But here is what made me pick.
What did you? I didn't hear the last part. What?
I didn't hear the last part. What?
I muted myself because of the super chat. But what made me pick Taylor is that he doesn't give a fuck about the masks. He doesn't catch for vaccines like Ramirez, showing mental strength, not giving a fuck, calling you a yellow motherfucker, whatever.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding, but tough call, but Taylor, I would say Taylor.
All right, that's 2 picks for Taylor, 1 for undecided from Gonzalo. Recognize, who do you think has the bigger cojones coming into this fight?
I think it's Taylor, man, for sure. I mean, listen, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out tonight. But Taylor's one of those guys I've talked about. Like, there's guys that can talk shit and back that up. They, don't go by that stereotype that the guy's talking and he can't back it up.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those dudes that could do it. And it's within the game of boxing, so I don't really dislike his trash talk as long as it's within the game of boxing. You're trying to get underneath your opponent's skin. But Taylor likes these, he wants to turn into a fight. One thing too is that, I am a little bit biased to guys who are against what the mainstream is trying to make normal.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of works in his favor too. But look, with all that said, when it comes to the game of boxing, these guys, we won't know until they actually face each other and something happens in the fight that one guy, kind of gives in a little bit, and we'll find out that way. And even then, sometimes you just can't, you don't know how you're going to react to a punch. So slightly Taylor, because Taylor talks a lot of shit, but he has backed it up all the time. He's backed it up. So
That's right. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, that's a good point. By the way, I'm glad you kept calling boxing a game because I'm getting tired of all these people using that Sugar Ray Leonard line like you don't play boxing. Everything's a game if you know how to look at it. All right, so stop it with the trying to
Yeah,
elevate boxing.
absolutely. When you're in the ring, it's not a game; it's a fight. But like leading up to the fight, the way you stare at the dude, he stares at you. You try to see if you could break him a little bit, and
Exactly.
then you got to back it up.
Fantastic. I couldn't have said it better, man. Mark, what do you think? Who's got the bigger balls coming into this fight?
I think Taylor, just because of the hematoma against Program getting punched in that shit, and he kept walking forward like a crazy.
There you go. That breaks it right that succinctly right there. And I'm gonna agree with. Well, actually, let's go back to Gonzalo just to see if he changed it. Gonzalo, so what did you finally decide?
Well, I can make a case for Ramirez, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because he's fighting in the United States. The people from the United Kingdom cannot come over because of the restrictions. So not only will he be fighting Ramirez, he'll be fighting a pro Mexican crowd, and that's gonna add a little. And another reason I think he takes a punch a little bit better than Taylor. So with that being said, he's a good finisher. He gets Taylor hurt, man, and then you got all the Mexicans screaming. That's what I'm saying. He's really gonna feel. He's gonna really feel emboldened by that. So
Hey,
I'm not
Gonzalo,
sure. Yeah, I
I'm
didn't
gonna
like the
say
whole
I don't
man
think they're
talking.
allowing the crowd.
There's gonna be 1,600 people there. But
They
nobody
did
from the
open it up to 1,600. Okay, sorry. So they did do
1,600,
that.
and it's
There's
a
a
small
few hundred
venue.
there. But wouldn't that also add in, like, for Taylor? He's the one traveling. He's the one going over to the United States. He's the one risking way more. He's taking away all home field advantage in search of that. Surely that shows heart.
I think it's the opposite. I think he chose a bitch. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Gonzalo.
And one thing, I was down the middle. I didn't know like who I was going to pick. I made my pick now. Yeah, it's gonna be for the Mexican. But I'm gonna tell you why. Because he's got the name of my son across the boxing trucks on the waistband.
I was just about to say because it says Mateo on his shorts. You motherfucker! I love it. Nah.
Yeah, man. And I'm here in the hospital. I'm gonna be watching it in the hospital. So yeah, he
there
got
you
my
go.
tail on the waistband.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the way it works, man. So we're gonna go with what everybody else said. But again, that's not to say that Ramirez does not have balls. It just means we were giving the edge to Taylor in this one. But we're not done yet, fellas. We still got more to go to. But before we get to that, let's go to John Gonzalez via the super chat. Thank you to John for his contribution with his fucking Mel Gibson photo there. And he says Taylor for the mental strength, less fights, but with higher competition. That's right. That's where we get there. So shout out to you, John. And please, fellas, don't forget to hit the like. Some people already hit it. You guys aren't hitting it. Pretend it's a pussy and go ahead and hit it. All right, now let me just rearrange here the rings here because we're gonna switch a page. We still got more to go, and let's try to speed it up and not over intro. Because I've noticed that if you over intellectualize it, well, it becomes harder. So just go with your first instinct, guys. All right. Hold on a second. All right. Precision. Who's the more precise puncher, Gonzalo? Who do you think sharpshoots here?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Wait, is that Gonzalo? Who is this?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, it sounded different. It sounded like somebody else, like a Filipino
Yeah,
stole your phone or something.
I'm outside and I turned the key over on the truck, so it got
okay.
connected to the Bluetooth on the vehicle.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But I turned it off again. Precision. Let me see,
man. Go with your first
Taylor
instinct,
lands
man.
more, but Taylor lands more. He lands like 40% as opposed to 25%, or like 20 in the high 20s to the body. Taylor lands more, and he's able to target the liver. Obviously, he's a left-handed fighter, so he can deliver hard shots to the liver. So that would be a precision punch body of work there. 40% of his output, it's to the body, and they're landing. So, I mean, yeah, I would just have to say precision. he can hit you with any type of punch, and he can hurt you. I would have to say Taylor, but Ramirez also hits pretty precise when he can hit you on the tip of the chin and spin your neck around where that discombobulates you, as we saw when he hurt what's this guy Posto, and we knocked out freaking Maurice Hooker. I mean, yeah, he delivers exact shots too to upstairs, but I think that and the whole body of work as far as output and punches landed, I think that Taylor, he's more precise.
Okay.
He lands more.
So, Gonzalo going with Taylor. And by the way, there's a lot of people in the chat fighting amongst each other, criticizing us too for being biased. Some people say we're biased for Taylor. Other people are saying we're biased for Mexico, for Ramirez, so they can't really get their story straight. And then Gar Harrison in the chat says, so many Mexican trolls. You fighters are cross-dressing weirdos. Puerto Ricans are much classier. Well, wait a minute. What? First of all, which Mexicans are cross-dressers, and what do Puerto Ricans have to do with being much classier?
Well, I can't disagree with him on that one.
shout out to Julio Cesar Chavez and Oscar De La Hoya, but big up to the class act that is Felix Verdejo.
No.
Yeah, but don't the Scottish people wear dresses too?
Can't argue with that.
Don't they wear dresses?
Well, it's a
they
kilt.
wear them kilts, no.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it's not
sorry.
All right. Well, listen.
How dare they?
Are there? Yeah, people are throwing,
I mean,
casting a
PDA, you can call it a kill, but it's still a fucking skirt.
Look, I don't like ethnic racial wars, but I agree with the Puerto Rican classy stuff.
Oh, would you stop it?
I must say that.
That's enough. It's too early in the day to be talking about this. But but Gonzalo, Alexander the Great. Well, actually, he was a bit of a twink, the motherfucker. And the Greeks in the time, they wore what do they used to call that? Like the skirt too, as well.
They invented gayness,
Kilt.
bro.
Yeah, they invented the ass fucking. You're right. All right.
Listen,
so
man, but when it comes to if you could wear a kilt, you're a brave man.
Well, yeah, man. Didn't the Gauls or the Brits or something back in the Roman days? They used to fight naked, right? They used to paint themselves blue and just fight naked. I mean, can you imagine that? Fighting naked, your dick's right there to be hit. Makes me cringe, man.
The Celts did. They were known to do that. To
Can you
skin
believe-
Let me tell you
intimidate their
something.
opponents.
The level of fighting spirit that one man has to have when they're fucking naked.
Oh man, crazy Celts, man. All right, Jimmy, who do you think has the more precise attack here?
Well, I think I read somewhere that doesn't Taylor, on average, has some of the best connect ratio for his power punches. I mean, I don't know if I read that in a tweet, so it could have been just some mental case, or if I read it in an article. But I'm going to go off that. So I'm going to say Taylor.
All right, that's two Taylors, official.
Yeah, precision, definitely Taylor.
Taylor, all right. Recognize?
Yeah, Taylor. There's a lot more going on there, and he's still pretty precise, so Taylor.
Let's go to Marky Mark. Who do you think has the most precise attack?
Josh Taylor, highest connectivity in the weight division, along with the highest volume. That's a crazy stat.
There you go.
Why don't
Why
you look
didn't
at
you-
the percentages, man, and I could just
I
tell.
wish you would have told me that, Mark. When I was saying I don't know if that was real, you could have threw that in for me to help me out,
No,
son.
that's
Thank you.
right, real. That's right, real.
No, it is true, though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so.
fourth pound for
Yeah.
pound in the entire sport.
Wow,
And 40%,
okay, so, yeah, definitely.
40% of that connect rate is downstairs to the body.
Yeah, that's the thing. They hit in the body. And if I may just put a final note on that, Josh Taylor can punch to the body right down the middle. Very good shots to the plexus, to the side. A good precision upstairs. So yes, I will agree with you, fellas. Taylor, the more precise puncher. By the way, shout out to Julio Ochoa in the chat, who said super chat rather, and he says, "Man was made in the image of God. Man in dresses is of Satan. The Scots are weirdos. We Mexicans," and he writes Mexicans with Mexicans, so with two X's. Mexicans are real men.
Mexican.
Right?
Mexican.
Mexican. Yeah, Mexican.
I'm Mexican.
Will Ramirez still be a real Mexican if he loses to a man in a dress?
That's a great point. Yeah, because so what
Good
if
question.
Ramirez loses? What does that make him? Losing to a guy who wears skirts and probably no underwear underneath, right? Because that's the way you're supposed to wear a kilt. I think no underwear underneath. I think
that's the way you're supposed to. It's war attire. What you do is when you go into war, you have your face paint, and you whip up your skirt to flash your balls to disorient your opponent, and then you teabag all over them to kill them.
Okay, I think that last part, he made up the last part about the teabagging. But yeah, let's go with it. Why not, man? So shout out to everybody in the chat. Sub for you says, don't joke about Scottman's traditional garb. You can get killed. Oh, that way. Oh, so he's saying killed, but killed. Man, that's a good pun right there. People are on fire, man. Let me tell you. This fight is bringing out the best.
I don't know if it's because I don't know if it's early in the morning or what, or it's early. It's kind of early to do this, but I'm feeling kind of giddy. I like those comments, man.
That's right. Keep it up, fellas. All right, jab. Who has the better jab, Gonzalo?
I think Taylor
has a better job.
Jesus fucking. I think Taylor does, but this is the thing. Look, Ramirez got the longer length, and we know that he's real active with the lead hand, so he throws that hook, but he's using the jab sometimes just to as a measuring stick, just to poke and prod. And once he sees, how he can swing that left hook, which is basically coming off the jab, you could tell that he basically what I'm trying to say. If he's good with the hook, with the lead hand, obviously, he can also throw a jab. It's not the same punch, but he uses that hand a lot. Actually, Ramirez is he's a converted fighter. He's actually a southpaw, and that's why that lead hand is so strong. So basically what I'm saying, he's got a good left hook. Obviously, he also got a good jab because that hand is developed. But I know that Taylor throws a lot of jabs. So I'm just going to say that I'm going to give it to Taylor. I don't know why I went that route. I made a case for Ramirez, but then all of a sudden I picked Taylor. Basically, what I'm trying to say, Ramirez ain't no slouch, but the jabs that he does throw, they're more like prodding jabs. And sometimes he'll pump out hard jabs, but what I'm trying to say is I think that Taylor's got more of a fluid jab.
Okay, that's a good breakdown right there, Jimmy. Jabberoo.
Yeah, I'm gonna the jab. I like Taylor's jab. I just like the way he delivers it. I like the way he throws it. And not, to be a big Scots guy, but I'll tell you right now, man, I wouldn't go calling those fucking Highlanders, those dudes who wear skirts. I mean, what people are calling skirts, kilts, soft individuals. They're notoriously tough men. That's just my little Scots thing.
I agree, man. I agree. I think it's just becoming a classic my culture versus your culture thing in the chat. That's what's going on.
Tribalism.
That's right.
Mexicans wear hairnets a lot better, I'll tell you that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Official, what do you think? Who has a better jab?
Yeah. So Ramirez's jab, I mean, it's definitely a harder one. He has a harder jab, more powerful jab, but it's not diverse enough. In comparison to Ramirez's jab, Taylor's jab is full leftist communist, so diverse. And okay, Ramirez he uses it to step on the inside or uses the up jab to get to the angle, and I can see him troubling Taylor with if he counters with a jab because Taylor, on the other hand, he uses too many soft setup jabs, so that's where he can trouble him. But I would say in overall, Taylor has a more diverse jab and can do more different things with it.
That's a good point. Yeah, like we saw in the film analysis, that Ramirez jab is hard, but it's one at a time. He doesn't use it necessarily to set up too many shots. He doesn't throw it. Well, he actually does throw it in some different manners. But anyway, we don't want to overanalyze.
Plus, he's been dogged by. I remember a few times people when he was fighting back on HBO, they were saying that in a couple of fights he was known to abandon it. Like a lot of guys do that. A few, 4 or 5 rounds in, they abandon the jab and they just start going in, swinging hooks, throwing big shots. But I've never seen Taylor really abandon the jab.
That's a good point, man. Recognize, who do you think has a better jab?
Yeah, I think Taylor, man. Not by much, but it's significantly better.
All right.
I think he uses the jab better, but I think there's going to be opportunities for Ramirez. Sometimes when this guy jabs, Taylor, he has a pretty bit of a wide stance. So there's going to be opportunities to counter that, to counter the jab with the jab. But I think jab for jab, yeah, Taylor's a bit better.
All right, so most people are going with Taylor. Mark, what do you think?
I'm not too sure. Ramirez has a more powerful jab. Josh's is a bit more diverse, as official said. But Ramirez, he likes to double up that jab sometimes to follow through to create his offense, his main form of shifting, to be able to come through with that overhand into the left hook. And he really gets a lot of momentum through carrying it. He manages to stick his whole body through as he gets to you. It's just he needs you to be in the right position. So, I don't know. I'll go with Ramirez on this one. I think he actually does have a better jab. I don't like Taylor's jab too much.
All right. Well, that's interesting there. A twist there at the end. I'm going to go with Taylor's jab. I think he should use it a little bit more, though. But I'm not just going to go with the power. I'm going to go with the diversity. And so I think Taylor's has a slightly better jab. But I can see Mark's point, too. I think that Ramirez's jab, he does throw it from different angles, too. That's what I was trying to get at before. But close one, but I'm going with the Scott. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "Rest in peace, Manny." I think he's not talking about Manny Pacquiao. He says, "Would have preferred the Mikey Garcia fight for a fun, winnable farewell fight. If Manny wins this fight, fighter of the year for sure. Probably fighter of the fucking century." But we'll see about that. All right, let's continue on with this. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution. Right hand. Now, in this, it's interesting this time because we're talking about a southpaw versus a right-hander, so it's a different dynamic here. But Gonzalo, who do you think has the better right hand?
Jesus, you know what? Ramirez is actually a left-hander, but he's converted. That's why his lead hand, that being his left, is more powerful. He punches hard with both hands. So does Taylor. But the thing about Ramirez's right hand, he doesn't use it a lot. He's more active with the lead hand. So, I mean, we're talking about the southpaw and Taylor. So, which would have a better right hand? Who would have a better right hand? I don't know, man. I'm gonna give it to Ramirez.
All right. By the way, there's Mexi in the chat room says Taylor wants Ramirez's chorizo. Okay, why are they making this into a gay thing, man? Come on. Oh man, these fucking people. All right, so Gonzalo went with the right hand for Ramirez. Jimmy, who do you think?
Let me change that. Let me change that. Let me just go back.
I'm afraid that's not possible. I'm afraid that's not gonna happen. No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so you're changing it to Taylor. Okay.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what do you think? Who has the better right hand here?
No, right hand. You mean right cross or?
Yeah, it's
right hand over in general because one's a southpaw.
Right,
and I know if Gonzalo said what he said, Ramirez is a convert.
Yeah, I think
so you would maybe think he's left hand dominant. So I don't know.
You want to change that to a cross? You want to change that to rear hand? Who has the better rear hand?
Yeah, I would say who has exactly the one they're not jabbing with.
Right.
And then I would have to give that to Taylor because I think Ramirez is left hand dominant. His best punch is definitely his left hook.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, he's got some knockouts with the right hand. This is Taylor. That's why I changed.
Okay.
Hey, don't jump on my decision, man. I didn't pick on yours.
Yep.
All right.
He says, "Yup."
Official. What do you think? Who has the better rear hand? The cross.
Yeah, so the thing with Ramirez is, okay, he can be very dangerous with that right hand at mid-range, especially like on the previous show we explained how he can, when he leans to his left, he can either throw a left hook to the body or surprise the opponent with the overhand right. And it's more powerful than Taylor's rear hand, in my opinion. But again, I do think that it can be read more easily than Taylor's punches. So I would give a slight edge to Taylor, and I'm not neither impressed with his rear hand, but I would say Taylor probably. At least he knows how to loop it around the guard while changing the angles, and knows to do many different small things with it.
Okay. So more diversity there for, you said Taylor, right?
Yeah, Josh Taylor.
Okay. Recognize?
Josh Taylor.
Josh Taylor, right to the point there. See, that's confidence right there. Mark?
Josh Taylor.
Josh Taylor. Josh. See, that's the
Josh.
other thing I like. When don't call this guy Josh. Hey, Josh. It sounds very from the Valley
Josh.
type. No, you got Josh.
Call him
Hey,
Josh.
Josh. By the way, Sonia Dumas in the chat says, these two are supposed to be the best, but you clowns have them way apart. Makes no sense. Well, Pumpkin, if you would have heard what we were saying since the beginning of the show, you wouldn't say that. So better close your mouth. Shut your mouth and open up your ears. You might learn a little something over here. All right, so we said rear hand, aka cross, Taylor. Now we go on to the left hook, which I suppose we're talking lead hook, right? We're talking lead hand here. So Gonzalo, who has the better hook or lead hand, right?
Well, the left hook. So obviously Taylor, he's left-handed, and he punches hard as hell because he's got knockouts with the left hook. But we know that Ramirez has an exceptional left hook. And the reason that I'm picking Ramirez with the left hook is because he's using it on the front hand. So, he's left hand dominant, but he's got a right-handed stance. So basically, Taylor's left hook is coming from afar, from the back. Ramirez's left hook is in the front. So basically, he just got to swipe his arm, just swing a little short distance to catch you. That's the most dangerous punch. A left hook, if you're carrying it up front, because that, he just basically has to turn his fist over, depending on how he's moving, and get some leverage behind it, and it's right there next to your face.
Yeah, but so we're talking. We switched it up to, when we talk about hooks, we're talking. Forget the left, right. We're talking now lead. We switched it up to lead hook. So we're talking about Taylor's right hook versus Ramirez's left hook.
Okay, so it's Ramirez for that same reason, because he just knows how to throw it, and it's powerful, and it's right next to your face. Especially if you carry your hands like the old school fighters, it's like right there, right next to the opponent's face. That's Ramirez's left hook.
Okay, Jimmy.
Ramirez.
Okay, there you go. Official.
Man, again, it's the same thing with most of their punches. I mean, Taylor's right hook, I like it a lot. So, and it's much quicker. He doesn't. He's more concentrating on the speed than on the power. And yes, Ramirez does get much more leverage on his left hook, and his left hook will be dangerous. He could counter Taylor's jabs, double jabs, like I said on the previous episode. I don't know, but I would say that it's easier to be seen, So I would say that Ramirez's left hook, you can say it's way deadlier than Taylor's right hook, but at the same time, it can be seen, much easier. Taylor is quicker with it, so I would say right hook from Taylor would have more success.
Okay. So you're going with the speed factor right there. Recognize?
Ramirez.
There you go. Mike. Jose. I think that's what you said, right?
Jose.
All right. So we got the hook goes to Ramirez. It's a close one, like most of this, but what are you gonna do? We got to pick one. People are saying, "Yeah, what are you gonna do?" It's the left foot.
What are you gonna do?
So if they get into a hooking war, can't really work out because they're south over just righty. By the way, people in this chat room are turning into some real comedians. Mexi in the chat room says, "What do whites and fences have in common? They both get jumped by Mexicans." Then we have, I tell you why says, "What do you call a Mexican who has lost his car? car lost. Listen, these people, man, hey, they're gonna be here all week. I reckon it's like that one. All right.
I usually wouldn't laugh at stuff like that, but today I'm feeling,
Hey, what did the Mexican say during the earthquake?
What's that?
Get off me, Holmes.
Okay, that one doesn't make any sense. All right. Uppercut. Who has the
What
better
do you call two Mexicans playing basketball? Juan.
All right, you fellas. I got a jet for 2 minutes.
I wanted to hear the answer. Shit.
I got a jet for 2 seconds. So you guys take it over. Gonzalo, uppercut. Who has a better uppercut?
Josh Taylor, he crouches down and he punches up. He's got good leverage on on those uppercuts. He crouches down. He's slightly taller, I guess so. But the way you see, the way he bends his knees and he crouches down and punches up, he's got powerful uppercuts.
All right, awesome. Jimmy?
Hey, can I throw my fucking 2 cents into this little ethnic slamming? What do you call a Mexican wearing a suit? In a suit? A defendant. Hey, so... well, that's just I shit on Italians more than anybody, so I mean I got more Italian jokes there, so I'm not just fucking around. But yes, what are we going now, brother? Mark, what's the thing? What?
I believe we're on uppercuts.
Uppercuts. Shit, man, Taylor's got a nasty uppercut if I remember.
Yeah, he does.
I'm gonna probably go with Taylor.
Official uppercuts.
Man, another fucked up category because look, if Taylor uses too many setup pit punches and leans over his front foot, Ramirez has the ability to throw that uppercut real quickly and a very hard uppercut. On the other hand, on the inside, if they're chest to chest, I spoke to Corruption the last night, and he told me, and he was totally right. On the inside, Ramirez always puts his head right under the chin of the opponent, never to the side. So that's where Taylor's uppercut would be very effective. So extremely tough one. I don't know, man, but I would say maybe Ramirez by the slightest edge. But again, I can see it other way around.
Okay,
so recognize.
Yeah, it's a tough cat. They both got pretty good uppercuts, but Taylor gets more leverage on his uppercuts. He does it fast, does it pretty fluid. All uppercuts, let's be honest, they're all pretty telegraphed, but he has a pretty good deception to it. So
yeah, I roll with
Taylor for me. It's good. Like both guys are good. Don't get me wrong. These guys are. Don't take it wrong if we pick one guy on certain things a little bit more than the other. That we're just going by previous fights. That all goes out the window. I'm having that shit
put on your gravestone, brother. You kidding me? This is not just for play.
Hey, so what? Did most people go with Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody did.
Except official. Official when we were
official. Yeah.
Official's trying to be a contrarian. Yeah, he's trying to be a contrarian.
Not the trying. Yeah.
Alan R in the chat says, "How do you mug an Italian? You close the lid while they're taking a drink." Oh, come on! Now see that these people.
Bring.
RG in the chat says,
I love ethnic jokes. I think they're funny.
Well, I disagree. I don't find them funny. RG in the chat says, "Did you hear about the Italian man on the news today? He passed that way." Oh, come on! Now see that you people, you gotta stop in that now. You
wow,
gotta stop.
Penne for your thoughts on that one, Mr. VDA.
Well, listen. I mean, I'm not. I say I don't like them, and yet I keep reading them. What does that tell you? All right, listen. Let's go to bodywork. Bodywork. Who goes better to the body? I think I know where we're gonna go with this one, Gonzalo.
Well, yeah. Listen. Ramirez got great body work. He punches hard to the body, and he goes often, and he goes a lot. But Taylor, 40% of his punches
landed his overall body of work 40% to the body, so he's really active to the body. So people would like think, oh, he's a Mexican, goes to the body, and he's just really good at that. But actually, the other guy, he lands more to the body. In a nutshell.
Okay. Okay.
And he's left-handed too, BDA, and he's also left-handed. So the liver's on the right side, but if you're facing the fighter, it's on the left, and that left hand, he got power. It hurts you the liver.
That's right. He's got some extra thump on that. Jimmy, what do you think?
Body rocks?
Yes.
You say, Taylor.
Taylor?
I just want to say one more. When is it all right to spit in an Italian girl's face?
Oh, come on.
Recognize? Is he there? Okay, BDA, you tell me. When is it all right to spit in an Italian girl's face?
I think I know, but I'm afraid of looking stupid by guessing wrong, so I'm not gonna take a guess.
All right, when her mustache is on fire.
Oh, come on. Now see that no, Jimmy, you gotta. I'm trying to find the button here to kick you out of the group, man. I don't know where it is, and I can't find the button, so I guess you get a pass on this one. But you're on thin.
I'll time myself out.
That's not necessary. All right, official. How about you, man? Who do you think has a better body work?
Josh Taylor.
Josh Taylor. Recognize? I think he's microwaving a burrito or something. Recognize. Who has a better body work?
Oh, fuck, man! I would have got that one right. The Jimmy joke, but I was brushing my teeth. So anyway, what's the question again? I'm sorry.
Who has the better body work? Who goes to the body better?
I know Taylor goes a lot to the body, but I think Ramirez is slightly better.
Ramirez slightly better. Oh, okay. Mark.
Joshua Taylor.
Joshua Taylor.
Joshua Taylor. What's going on here today, man? People
he
in the
knows
chat
him personally.
Yeah,
Joshua
that's Joshua Taylor. If he went to be epic, he would call himself Jeshua Taylor. More Yeshua, like Jesus, but in Aramaic. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Corner. Who has the better corner? Ramirez has the Robert Garcia, the very capable Robert Garcia, a lot of experience.
Ramirez.
Taylor all of a sudden switched to what's his name again? Fuck it, his name is escaping me.
Ben Davison.
Ben Davison, yeah. So a bit of a weird choice there. So Gonzalo, who do you think has a better corner?
Well, that's a no-brainer, and that's gonna be Ramirez, especially since Big G came. He's accompanying. Well, he's been involved in the whole training camp. That's Robert Garcia's father. He's been involved in the whole preparation with Ramirez. So I mean that helps.
All right, Jimmy.
Oh, without a doubt, Ramirez. I think the old man Gonzalo just said it is. That dude knows his shit, man. So yeah, Ramirez for sure.
Okay, official.
Now let me be contrarian once again. I mean, it's a no-brainer that the senior Garcia Senior is and the whole camp. They're better trainers than Ben Davison, have more experience. But I do think that, and look, Ben Davison, I've been the first one to give him shit for the way he reacted in the first Fury Wilder fight. But I do think he may surprise a lot of people, and he may be, maybe I'm wrong, but he may be exactly what Josh Taylor needs for this fight. So for this fight, I would say I would surprise everybody and say Ben Davison.
All right, just to clarify, he's not saying that Ben Davison is a better trainer overall than Robert Garcia, but he's saying that for this fight, getting Taylor to box against Ramirez might be the best strategy. And I agree with that a little bit. I think that Taylor, if he can box, I think he needs to make Ramirez jump to him and open himself up. So I see official's point there. Recognize, who do you think has a better corner coming to this fight?
Yeah, Ramirez corner is better. Ben Davison, sometimes when I forget that he is in the corner of Josh Taylor. Josh got to be careful, meaning that if he sees something in the ring, do it despite the the advice that's coming from you know, like sometimes you get in the corner and they'll start spitting some shit and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. You know, you're not saying it to them, but you're like, nah, I'm not doing that. I see something different. So it might be one of those situations. But just corner for corner, no, you can't. The Garcias are much better.
Yeah, JD in the chat says boxer size Ben. He's calling him boxer size Ben. That's how he's calling. Mark, who do you think has the better corner coming into this fight?
First, you marked the body work wrong. It went to Taylor, and second,
shit.
Yeah. Corner Garcia, Robert Garcia all day. Way more experienced. Knows what he's doing with the style of fighter. Ben, very unproven. I mean, who would you want? A dude who has had two outgoings in world title fights, with one with Billy Joe Saunders where he got his eye fractured, the other where Fury got dropped and Fury got cut against Valine, right? As well, got hurt there. Or would you rather Robert Garcia, who's helped fighters be competitive and in some cases even when people thought he brought Maidana to victory over Floyd in the first fight? I mean, I'd much rather Robert.
It's not like neither one of them have JDs. So
you
know, I mean, come on, that guy's
boxer size Ben might be on the same level. He might be on the same level. We don't know yet.
Yeah, Ben Davison, like literally, he almost got Tyson Fury. I wouldn't say it's just all him, but you know, Tyson Fury almost got stopped twice under him. You know, he almost got knocked out by Deontay Wilder, and you know that punch that Wallin, you know, that cut that Tyson Fury had, that was a punch.
You put the corner on the wrong side, BDA.
I think but didn't I read somewhere that Tyson openly admitted he wasn't like Fury? Tyson Fury's been boxing since he come out of the womb, so that fucking dude, there's nothing that he doesn't already pretty much know what he can do. I think with Davison, he used him more as like motivation because he was coming out of a dark period of his life, and he just needed someone to motivate him.
I think you're right,
for conditioning. I think like he said, it wasn't really like he knew what he wanted to do. It was more. You know, Davison was more of like a guy just to help him with his conditioning, and now it's his strength. But as far as boxing, I mean, come on, there's no comparison. The old man, both, not just him and his son, Garcia's got it all over him.
All right, so you guys went with corner with Ramirez as his corner.
Ramirez
cuts. Who? And when I say cuts, obviously not just necessarily a cut. We're talking facial damage. Who shows more facial damage? Gonzalo?
Taylor,
okay. Jimmy?
Recognize.
Thank you.
All right.
No, Taylor, I've seen him swell up his eye, but that was a nasty headbutt. So, where he's a southpaw too, they tend to get jacked up more, landing, get headbutted more. But I don't remember seeing, has Ramirez ever been cut bad? Does he know does he have high cheekbones or?
Didn't he get fucked up?
He said that big black eye that looked like he broke his face.
Wasn't there a fight Ramirez was gashed pretty bad? Am I remembering that correctly? We almost thought like he was worried about it was a gash above his eye from a headbutt once. But that you can't, everybody gets gashed.
Yeah.
But for tough skin, I would, I don't know, I'd go with Ramirez.
So yeah, I'm watching the Cepeda fight right now. He came out pretty clean.
I actually thought he looked pretty roughed up in the Cepeda fight. Maybe if you skip to the end. Official, who do you think takes more facial damage?
Definitely Josh Taylor. So there is a clear advantage to Ramirez.
Ramirez, yes. Recognize you said. Did you say Ramirez?
Yeah, I was thinking about this chicken head I met back in the day. She took a lot of facial damage, but no, I'm kidding. The lightest skinned guy always, except Canelo, right? Like he has this.
Hey,
you're unbelievable, man.
No, I'm just saying. Look, you could take a brown skinned guy who's pretty light, like lightish brown or medium brown versus a dark skinned brown guy, and they could both hit each other equal amounts with hard shots, and one guy's gonna be more visible, and that should be the lighter skin.
Them crackers bleed.
Oh, those
them white boys. The white boys bleed a lot. So
That's right.
We're bleeders. We're bleeders.
Mark?
No, yeah, I would say Ramirez has a tougher skin, if you want to say it that way.
Mark?
Ramirez better in this. That dirty little cracker.
All right. All right. So Ramirez has an advantage when it comes to taking or absorbing facial, and not showing facial damage. So I'm trying to get at. His face doesn't get marked up as much. So there you have it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Real quick, before we go, we still got a couple of minutes left. The Tyson Fury Wilder. They're saying that somebody tweeted that supposedly Wilder already signed on to a third fight, so he wasn't bluffing. At least it doesn't appear so yet. Fury's on his way to sign the contract. Guys, like I said before, I think this is actually a pretty good fight, man. Especially since they're going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, look, man. This was a scam. I knew Tyson Fury was a scam. It was just a scammer. Like, he was acting funny. To me, at least to me, everybody was like trying to blame AJ, and I always saw it as he was the one that was hesitant and just talking shit. And it makes sense for me now that, you know, he's going to be fighting, or at least more likely he's going to be fighting Deontay Wilder. Is it July 24th?
They're saying,
Recognize, I got to find it. I got to find an article, dude. 9 out of 10 known arbitrators were, you know, told give a cursory review of the situation. 9 out of 10 said they would have went with Fury.
Oh,
like you, my girl, she's a lawyer, and no, listen, it's actually shocking that he gave Wilder this fight. I'm telling you right now, because if you go by the letter of the law, he shouldn't have won the case.
Look at the way Fury and Bob Arum are treating it. Okay, you know, like. They talk so much shit, right?
Well, it's because you can't. There's nothing you can do.
No. It's not. It's
non-arbitrary.
No. Listen, I understand that, Jimmy. It's just the reaction was like, okay, buddy, no problem.
I agree. I thought Bob Arum should have showed a little anger. He should have at least said, "What the fuck? I was shocked by this. He should have come out and said, I truly believed there was no way he was going to win."
Tyson Fury's an excellent boxer, but I noticed he can't fight. He cannot fight like responsible enough. Like, okay, you beat Wilder, you clearly beat him. Now go beat AJ. He's the type of person, and he's done this before. When he was supposed to rematch Vladimir Klitschko, he retired. There's a pattern with him that he takes these long layoffs. And I said it. I going in. I said if they fight, I always said it. If they fight, because I never trusted Tyson Fury, AJ will beat him. Okay, AJ would beat this guy. Tyson Fury needs 2 years to think about it, and once he gets in the ring, it's a different ballgame. But I think Tyson Fury would prefer Deontay Wilder. He's got to be careful with that too. He's got to be real careful with that. Prefers Deontay Wilder over AJ because obviously he beat him already, you know, and he's gonna get 60-40 of the purse, right? So I don't know what the purse is going to be. They're going to fight in
it's 60-40.
Right, and the fight's going to be in Vegas. It's going to be in where the Raiders, the new stadium there. So I don't know how many people they're planning to pack in there. You know, so
it's July, and I think they're supposed to lift. They're supposed to lift the fucking restrictions by then.
And remember this. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder said one time they'll freeze AJ out. They've said this before.
And I personally, listen, Wilder had no opportunity. He has no opportunity to fight anybody else. Because remember, part of what they said to the arbitrator, there's no money. PBC has no money to back Wilder. He's not gonna fight anybody. I don't give a fuck if it was Wayland for a dime under $10. I mean, $10 million. Thing is, nobody's gonna pay him that money. There's no way for him to get. You know, Heyman's not a promoter. He doesn't put up money. He uses the money they get from a fight, site fees and shit. So who is he going to fight to generate the money to even cover Wilder's? So of course he's going to jump on this because I really don't think. I mean, unless he gets his belt back, he has no leverage, and he's just not going to. Nobody's going to pay him that money. So, but yeah, no, I would have personally liked to see Bob just at least come out and say, you know, I'm really shocked by that. the arbitrator's decision to give him the fight. But it is what it is. But can I just say one other thing too? I see a lot of people on Twitter and shit saying, "Oh, Bob couldn't make the Crawford fucking Pacquiao fight, but Al did." I just want to say for the record that anybody who thought that Crawford was going to fight Pacquiao was smoking fucking good shit, because there was no chance of that happening, because Pacquiao was contractually obligated to fight his next fight with the PBC. People overlooking the fact he didn't just sign with the PBC like you normally sign with a promoter. He signed a specific 3-fight deal. He did Broner, he did fucking Thurman. So he still owed. In fact, I just read an article right before I got on the show where it said there was an interview after Manny Pacquiao signed with McGregor's promotion, because they were talking about making that Pacquiao-McGregor fight, so he signed with them. And he actually had to come out and say, "Don't worry, I fully intend on fulfilling my obligations to the PBC." And why is that? Because he owed $18 million in the IRS taxes. Jeez. That's the reason why he's not with Bob Arum anymore, because when he wanted to fight in the United States, get a fight in August of 2018, and it was all ready to go, and then he got hit with the "you can't fight until you pay your lien." And Manny actually expected Arum, top rank, to put up his tax money. And Bob's like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude. You've been dealing with this since 2013, dude. You've never taken care of it." Yeah, I'm not paying it for you, dude. So they split, parted ways there. And so Al Heyman or somebody put up the money on their end, paid his taxes with the deal that you have to fight 3 fights to get their money back, and he only had fought 2. So Crawford was never in the cards. And I would have shit just as hard on that fight as I am on this one, because it is what it is. It's a cash grab. That's all it is. And if fucking Spence loses
shout out to Manny Pacquiao, man.
Jimmy, shout out to him for taking the balls to do it, but he had to, dude. He was under obligation. Al was telling him who he has to fight. Now think about it. They owe him... He owes, for paying that $18 million, they weren't going to have him fight a nobody because they couldn't get a good, big money. So obviously they were going to put him in with Spence because that's going to be the big money draw. But at the same token, I can't stress enough how bad this would be for Spence if he loses. If he loses, his law, all that shit's gone. He loses his belts, then there's no reason for Crawford to even fuck with him anymore. And for what? For a 42-year-old who's not going to continue. It's not like he's going to probably call his retirement right after. So to me, it's a going out of business sale cash grab. And fucking
Jimmy, if he beats Manny,
what's that, brother?
If Manny Pacquiao beats him, then there's nothing to fight about. There's nothing to fight for.
Exactly.
I mean, the guy doesn't.
He'd rather lose to him than fucking. He'd rather lose this.
When he beat Keith Thurman the way he did, I was like, dude, you could just retire. Like, you could just call it quits now.
But it'd be 2 years though. A 42-year-old, 2 years out of the ring. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. It just doesn't look good.
43.
He loses.
43, Jimmy. 43.
He'll be 43 when they fight? Holy shit.
I think he's 43.
Are you sure he's
No, he's 42.
42, excuse me.
He'll be 43 in January.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so next in 2022 he'll be 43. The guy's been boxing since he was 16 years old, bro. 16.
He hasn't knocked out anybody of note since 2009, man. Come on. It's been 12 years since he started.
Look. I look at that
December
2 ways.
or January?
Jimmy, I look at that 2 ways. He's put these guys in retreat mode, bro. Like sort of like what Canelo's doing right now. He makes these guys fight like in retreat mode. They're like, I don't want to get knocked out by him. Yeah,
and let's be honest, he's fighting probably 2 weight classes above where he should. If that was any other normal human,
that too.
You know what I mean? If you look at the picture of him, he's 5.5 inches taller than Pacquiao. It's almost comical how much bigger than he is. Like, in reality, any normal human, never mind the age, at his physical frame, would never be fighting above lightweight. That just goes to show you how talented, how great he is. I don't take anything away from what his accomplishments and his abilities. It just, what does it do for the sport? That's all.
It's the movement. It's the movement, the frenetic pace, and the speed and power. When the little man got speed, because he's faster, but he's not just because he's smaller. That's why he's faster. He's just a fast guy. But with the movement and the power that he has, for a little guy, man, it's like, yeah, that works for him.
Yeah, if he was still fighting at 135, I still think he'd be knocking dudes out.
Oh,
it's just hard when you're that small to be knocking out guys who are fucking, legitimately, A lot bigger than you the way they are.
I mean, imagine he was fighting at 135 still. I
He
can't
wrecking
see.
dudes.
Yeah, I mean, Teofimo beats him? Nah, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying?
Two angles that I'm looking at just to think, because I mean, obviously Spence, he should be favored, but if I would have to find an angle, the car crash and the fact that he's still fighting in the same division and he's 30 years old. Every fighter moves up at least one division when they reach that age, right around that age, and he hasn't. So he couldn't knock out Mike in the latter rounds. Man, it's not because he didn't try, because he was probably a little depleted.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, what I think is funny, the fucking spent dick riders are all fucking. They're gonna fucking strip Pacquiao of his belt, man. Fucking been an actor 2 years, ridiculous. The same dick riders now are saying the WBA's got to reinstate Pacquiao because he's in recess, champion recess status.
Man, these people there's just no standards anymore. It seems like for some people,
there is no standards. This is just honestly like I'm happy that Ramirez and Taylor are gonna fight for undisputed. They went about it the right way. They fought in tournaments. They fought champions. Shout out to those guys. But the whole undisputed thing, like it depends on what you're talking about. Like, look, if one guy's gonna be a champion one day, then the champion next day. But he's fighting Spence, so we're gonna reinstate him. Fuck off! I don't need that shit. That's not.
And the reason why they're not fighting. Oh, sorry, bro.
No, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I was gonna say the reason why they're not fighting. Spence isn't fighting you guys. I can understand why they weren't doing that, just for the optics, because that means. Everybody knows that would have been his least selling pay-per-view. And by the way things are set up right now at the PBC, all intents and purposes, all their A-level guys are now full-time pay-per-view players. Meaning every time they step in the ring, you're paying $80 to watch him fight. So first off, they can suck my dick on that. But second, he would have had to fight you guys. If he was fighting that, his pay-per-view numbers would have been, for the fourth fight in a row, plummeted. It just wouldn't have looked good. So they needed him to fight.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Here's a question to the panel. Now that Tyson Fury and AJ are not going to fight each other for undisputed, which is the fight that's more likely going to happen? AJ versus Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder on July 24th.
Wilder, because that's pretty much set in stone. But I believe Usyk he's really pressing his advantage. He's got a lot. He filed legal papers to push his right for that.
And you know something, and I think AJ should take that fight. Okay, even though I think AJ was kind of used in this whole thing, but AJ has some obligations that he needs to fulfill as being champion.
Hey, but
imagine Usyk, that's not going to be good.
Imagine that's what I was going to say. Imagine Usyk beats AJ and the whole Fury Joshua fight gets ruined for.
What if Fury loses to Wilder? Let's just say he gets knocked out or it goes the distance, and they give it to Wilder, and Alexander Usyk beats AJ. It'll be like such a fucking. I think it would be well deserved. Okay, I hate Wilder. Don't get me wrong. I hate Wilder's fans. They're full of shit. They're pieces of shit. But so did Tyson Fury prove to be a fucking con artist. Like, we gotta admit that, man. I always had my feelings about him, and he like confirmed it in this whole thing. Like. I can, maybe I'm a little biased, but I can't help but to feel like he was in on this the whole time. He knew he was going to fight Wilder. He knew that.
But so what was the point?
Dude, come on. You can't say. How would he know that they would make such an odd decision? Dude. There's no way you could predict that Jimmy, Desert Goblin was going to pick Wilder.
That dude was talking. That dude was talking greasy. He was talking, Well,
fuck them both, dude. You know what? Instead of jerking us around for as long as they did, they could have had that fight already in Cinco de Mayo Day, right? What could have stopped them? This has been going on for a year. So fucking they dragged their feet, wearing their Versace shirts out in Vegas. Tyson, I'm pissed at him for other reasons, just because they jerked us around for a year. But they could have already had that fight. Now we could be fighting Wilder. But nope, they wanted to jerk us around. But let's just put it on the record. This is the fourth unification championship fight that Wilder has personally stopped from happening. He stopped the fucking Klitschko-Bavern from happening because he enforced his mandatory status, because he knows he was offered the winner of that, but there was not a chance in hell he was going to fight Klitschko. And another side note, do you know the first time Wilder ever fought anyone in the top 20 is when he fought Bavern the first time for the belt in fucking 33 fights?
I'm not. Wilder is, he is who he is. I'm just disappointed. I'm not disappointed actually, because I'm not surprised, but I feel like Fury was, he was trolling on, I'm going to fight AJ in the summer, knowing that this was in the back of the head. This was in the back of the mind.
I think it'd be more on Bob. I think Bob, as a lawyer of 50 years, should have realized it was an opportunity. He was so confident, and this is someone who I was told, someone who works over there, like, he was totally blindsided, supposedly by someone who works this, not supposedly, he does work there. He said that Bob was blindsided by that decision. He never thought, he didn't even think the guy was going to give him a financial package. Never mind fucking reinforcing the fight.
But that's the thing, though. So you mentioned that 18 arbitrators looked at this and said that they were baffled by the official decision. Yeah, how? Yep. Like, I don't know squat about the law in this regard, but it does seem bizarre, right, Jimmy? Why would Wilder have win the favor of getting a third fight when the contract expired? Like, what was the? Because
of COVID. Supposedly, the guy said COVID and pushed that the PBC didn't have the money because they needed the crowds, and Wilder doesn't have a promoter; he only has an advisor, and they knew that. They're saying, like, the thing, I guess, like, Fury's team knew he didn't have any money behind him. So they needed a site fee. They needed a crowd. So they felt that they should have given him more time to sign. But no, absolutely, dude. It's a binding agreement. So meaning no matter what his decision was, they can't, like, fight it. So fuck it. Just let's move forward from there. But I think Bob should have realized that was more of an opportunity than more of an outcome.
One day I was listening to one of these Wilder fanboy channels, and I always remember the host of that show said, "Trust me, that fight's in the bag. Like, I speak to Wilder personally. That fight's in the bag. The third fight." So, I always keep that in mind. Like, maybe Wilder.
But isn't that the same motherfuckers who were saying he hit him with egg whites too?
Yeah, that's it. See, let me say something.
No, I know. I hear you.
Let me say something about that. Guys, can I just say something about that real quick? Because we got to iron this out. Look, people are saying that, well, somebody on both sides of the Fury and Joshua camps or managerial positions, they knew that this whole thing was bullshit. But here's my question. Why would they go through the whole rigmarole of signing the fight and all that? What's the advantage? What, a little publicity? But at the end of the day, it turns out worse for them because then people hate them. So what would have been the motive for going through the whole thing? The whole spiel. I don't.
It wouldn't have been. And they hired one of the best known arbitrators in the country. Spent a couple of $20,000 to have him do the arbitration and whatnot. And I think. And I'll tell you right now, right? You don't take people's personal opinions and emotions out of things. And you got an arbitrator who has been huge on Jewish and Zionist causes, and then you got a fighter who's really said up to him some bad shit about Jews. So how much did that have effect in it? Like, I'm going to cost you $150 million. Because the bottom line is, now you have two opportunities to fuck up that unification. And if either one loses, that's $300 million, 150 each they were supposed to get out the window. So, but Wilder, he stops the unification. That's what he's done his whole career.
That's a big risk, man. That is, man. When you look, I know Tyson Fury should be the heavy favorite going into the a third Wilder fight, and he should win. But you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if he has that same motivation to beat him in the way he had in the second fight, right? You don't know that. You don't know that for sure.
Unless he's fronting. He's claiming he says, what he let out, like, fuck him, I'm really going to make him pay. If he truly believes he got fucked out of this money because of that, that's even more motivation. Never mind that he denigrated Europe's largest ethnic minorities, the shit he said about gypsies, his character. If Fury isn't motivated to go in there and knock that fucking punk's head off, nothing will ever motivate him. Wilder's giving him more ammunition, right? If I was Fury, I'd want to fucking kill that Bama boy.
I'm curious to see what's gonna happen because now a lot of people, the Wilder fans, they can't believe Fury beat him legitimately. They still, in their heart of hearts, they believe, oh yeah, he must have cheated. So going into this fight, that's what I'm saying. I don't mind the fact that Fury Joshua fell apart because I mean, like, it's not gonna be as entertaining as Wilder Fury 3 outside the ring. We're gonna get a lot of psychos coming out of the woodwork, and
it'll be entertaining.
Absolutely, it's gonna be a nice little circus, and at least we know it's happening. It's not like with Joshua Fury. Well, next week we'll see what happens. And by the way, they're talking about this third fight. We still have to hear what Eddie Hearn has to say. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they'd say, you know what, let's make Joshua Fury. Maybe Wilder accepts some step aside. I mean, you never know. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's been a roller coaster, and we'll see what happens with that one. So yeah, listen, fellas, we're probably gonna do a show depending on what happens to Ramirez Taylor. Probably do a show after the fight later on in the late part of the evening, the night. So, and by the way, according to my schedule here, my TV schedule, it says, at least here in Canada, it says the broadcast starting at 8:30. So usually it's about 10 o'clock Eastern time here when there's ESPN fight, but here they're saying 8:30. So can we expect the main event to start at 10 o'clock?
Is that 8:30 Eastern Standard Time? Because if it's 8:30, you're in the same time zone as me, Montreal. So we're an hour and a half, I believe, behind that. So if it's an 8:30 p.m. kickoff time in Vegas, that means it's 10 o'clock for you and me.
Well,
it's a 3-hour delay from LA to Boston.
TSN is the Canadian equivalent of ESPN, and I'm looking at it here, and it says 8:30 p.m. They're not going to give us the Pacific time, so I'm.
Did it? So okay.
If
I don't know. The best bet is to just check. You know what I mean?
Listen, man.
Putting it up on you.
If it starts at 11, that's great, man, because I'm getting tired of this fucking main event starting at 12 o'clock and then us doing a show at 1 a.m. in the morning. I want to do it when it's early, a little earlier. And so this fight...
It's going to be early because they said that the broadcast starts at 1:45 p.m. And so that means that, they're going to do the undercards and then the actual the main event will start. That means if it's starting at 1:45, it's starting like really, really early. By the time they get to the main card, it's not going to be 12 o'clock. It'll be like, I don't know, early.
That's great to hear, man. That's fantastic, man. And listen, fellas, if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like. And that's about it, fellas. Who's going to be down if we do a late night show? Who's going to be showing up for that one?
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
All right.
Likely.
Me too.
All right, official.
Okay.
Nothing said. Nothing.
We'll be like fucking 50, like I don't know, 20 years from now. I'll be here.
Is Bucho going to be on tonight, or is he sleeping in?
Oh, come on. He'll probably show up, man. You never know. Especially if the fight's entertaining, man. Ooh, I think it's gonna be.
He'll show up with his bottle of wine.
speaking Italian or French or whichever language he feels comfortable with that night, right?
Bonjour.
Oh, by the way, hold on a second. Before we leave, official predictions, man. Official predictions for the main event tonight between Taylor and Ramirez. Gonzalo, who wins?
Jesus,
Oh,
man!
stop saying
the
saying that
Mexican
name,
rooting
please.
for the
Come on,
Mexican,
man.
but he got Mateo on the trunk, so
Exactly.
With the double T,
You have
Mateo. So I can't go against him. I'm in the hospital. He's got Mateo on the trunks. If I root against Taylor, that might be a bad sign, a bad omen for me. So I'm just gonna say Ramirez by split decision.
All right, Jimmy.
Fuck, this is honestly probably the hottest pick, in my opinion, that we've had since we've been doing these, so I'm going to take it serious. The younger legs, you know what? I won't be surprised if it's the complete opposite. I don't see the one of them knocking each other out. Not to say it couldn't happen, but I'm going to, and he's going to be doing it in America. If this fight was being held in England, not to say it would be a robbery, but I would be a lot more comfortable in saying Taylor by decision. But I'm still gonna go with it, even though it's here in the United States. I'm going with Taylor. I don't know if I should do split decision, but majority decision. I've never picked a majority decision before. I'm gonna do that today for the fuck of it.
All right.
Yeah, Taylor majority decision.
It's good to switch it up every once in a while, Jimmy. Good.
Right, just switch it up, man. Every now and then, get on the bottom.
That's right. A little bit. Official?
A little bit.
Yeah, so I can definitely see Ramirez win this, deserve to win the fight. But I can also see a robbery. I mean, I can also see, this is why it's such a difficult fight to predict. Because Taylor as well, with his volume and his body punches, I can see him stopping Ramirez late. But then, realistically, I would expect Taylor to win the fight. And then the thing is, I don't know what the official decision is going to be. I can see him performing so well that he edges out a split decision, that should be a unanimous decision. But I can also see a robbery for Ramirez.
Oh.
Yeah. So do I absolutely have to give you my prediction?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Remember, we can't be wishy-washy, official, my friend. Good. Hot or cold, man.
Yeah, you're right, Gonzalo. Fuck!
Co-sign your name, brother. Sign it.
Yeah, Jimmy, you feel my pain. So let's say fuck.
You don't have any idea of the facts.
It would be smarter to bet on corruption. So Ramirez by robbery. Fuck, I don't know.
Ramirez. Listen, in this
That
situation,
sounds a little racist to me, but.
Oh, come on, Jimmy. Come on.
Mexican by robbery.
Recognize.
Okay. Look, I don't go by what the judges, even though you should. But if I just had to say who's going to win the fight, I think Taylor will win something like 7 rounds to 5. And if the decision is read the right way, I say Taylor by split decision. But it could go either way, man.
Taylor split decision. I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go with Taylor by decision. I don't know. I was getting the hankering for stoppage, but decision. It's a safe pick. I'm going for the safe one.
Let me can we get rid of that majority? That's goofy. I don't want to do the fucking majority decision. I'll just do decision.
Decision. All right.
I think I think whoever's gonna win will be by decision. Majority decision. That was goofy. So I'm gonna just say decision, whether it's unanimous or not. Just fuck it. Decision. Taylor.
Taylor. Okay. Taylor decision. Uncle Brent apostrophe in the chat room says Taylor mid-late KO. Whoa. Yeah, that's the one I was going with too, man. Fuck. All right. Pure Sim says Taylor is getting smoked. Alan R says I pick Ramirez. Magic Man says Ramirez by late KO. TJN1 says if it had British judges, Taylor would have already won. Mark Edwards says Ramirez won't make it past 8. Whoa, a lot of some people are picking Ramirez by stoppage, man. EI Infamous says I got Josh Taylor winning every round, but again the fight stopped because of a facial fracture. Oh, come on now all of a sudden all UK guys get their faces fractured. Uncle Burnt says Ramirez. Yeah.
What about is Mark still on the line?
No.
He's gonna get his. Okay, hung up. All right.
Shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I'm undecided still. I think the winner of this fight is going to be the fans, as corny as it sounds. Yes, that is very corny, but since you gave the super chat, I can't give you too much flack over it. So shout out to Virtuoso for his contribution, who says he's still undecided. You better come up with a decision before the fight, man, because I'm going to remember
Hey, BDA.
Yes, sir.
A little bit of controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see the weigh-in?
Yes.
Okay. Does it look like both guys are 5 feet 10 inches tall?
No.
Or does it look like one guy's 5 feet 10 inches tall, the other one is not?
That's right. That's what I was talking to Gonzalo about at the beginning of the show. Look at this. I'm showing you a picture here from. It's not a full. It's a close up, a little bit of a medium shot, but you can tell. Look, Ramirez has that rooster haircut. It's a very thick.
Maybe
haircut,
that's what they're counting. I don't know because it looks like he's at least an inch taller than him there.
Yeah, because look at Ramirez.
They used to
Ramirez has
measure
a thick
guys.
hair, man.
I don't know when they got away from that, but they used to have them stand there and they put that thing. They have the office that comes right down the top of your head, the slide stick there to give you
almost
precisely.
like in the amateur. If you remember, if anybody's ever boxed in the amateurs, they'll put you on the scale, and then they'll put you on they'll measure your height. You know, put your sneakers on though. Like some guys would take it off, but most guys wouldn't. They just put you with your sneakers on and have you stand by the thing that measure your height, and that's it. That's what they put.
They used to let us when they measured our height in the images. They used to let us wear our boxing shoes. I used to wear my Axis Tigers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Here in this one, if they were both wearing sneakers for this face-off, and on top of that, Ramirez has a rooster haircut, which is about 2 inches, no more than that thick. And even then, so if you take away that hair, he's much shorter than Ramirez. So somebody's lying over here. Either Ramirez is 5'10" and Taylor's actually 6 feet 1 inch tall or something, or Ramirez isn't 5 feet 10 inches tall.
I would say Ramirez is 5'9".
Yeah. That's the way it looks like to me, man. Because when he fought Postal is legitimately what, 5'10" and a half inches tall or 5'11" or something? And,
something like that, yeah, 5'11". I think 5'11".
Right. He looked taller than Taylor, and he looked a lot taller than Ramirez. So, yeah, there's some shenanigans here. I don't like it when they lie to us about the height, man. It's like they're trying to. It's like when you go out with a woman via the internet and she gives you a photo and then you show up and she's like 200 pounds or something. Like, come on.
I'm 5'7". I'm asking you, sweetheart, without the high heels, with the 3-inch high heels, how tall are you?
Exactly.
They do that in all sports, though, too. They add in football for linemen, they'll add 2-3 inches to linemen, 50 pounds. But it's different because this is one-on-one. They should be more accurate. But the most important height or length is the arms, the length, the reach. Yeah. That's what plays more than. And it depends how they do it. Some guys can be taller, but they don't fight tall. Like Easter's notorious for that. Always taller than most guys he fights, but always fights down in height.
Yeah, absolutely.
He negates his own advantage.
Well, he's been trying to box a little bit
to their advantage, you know.
Yeah, he's been trying to box a little bit more recently, but still, your point remains.
No, his last outing was better, but yes, he always did fight down to his opponent.
Yeah, that's weird. Like Corrales too. Well, Corrales had T-Rex arms. He was a tall guy, but he had T-Rex arms, which is very bizarre. Oh, by the way, we see Gonzalo there in the hospital. Did you steal the doctor's robe again, or no? He's got a shirt this time. Okay.
I know a lot of guys with TX arms, especially when the bill comes. When you go to dinner with them, the T-Rex arms. Man, I can't fucking alligator arms. Can't reach your wallet. You fuck.
Oh man.
All of a sudden, their arms become shorter than they really was, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, exactly. The dude who always goes to the bathroom when he sees the waitress hovering around with the bill.
All right, then we see.
Oh, look at him! Look at the little fucker, man! What a cutie! Look at that boy, big bright eyes. Look at his little hands. My God.
Yeah, and the baby has small hands too, huh?
Yeah, the baby had little hands too. Look at him, huh?
He's got some.
Look at him. He's like, hey, Dad, what's up,
buddy? Hands on him. Hey,
tell that
Gonzalo,
kid shut the fuck up.
Gonzalo, he's got some hands on him. I can see it already, bro.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, listen.
Awesome. When's he gonna be home?
I don't know. He's improving, but they're still monitoring him, and he's still got some. He's breathing. He's still got a hose running across the lip, where it's not the tube that's going down the throat, but he's still being assisted by these little hoses coming across the nose. And it's just like it's a little bit of air, but they're still feeding them that little bit of air.
It's fresh oxygen, yeah. It's high, oxygenated air, so it's just better for him. Which, you know what, dude? I know it might be a pain in the ass, but it's if they're even a little bit worried, just where to keep him. But yeah, he's gonna come back, man. He's all right. He's so fucking cute, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, just don't let the people that when they measure him to height and weight and all that, they just don't get the same people that did for Ramirez, man. They'll fuck that shit up. By the way, shout out to Combat Elite in the chat room. Says BDA best boxing channel, period. Well, thank you, Combat Elite. Really appreciate that, man. And on that note, we do have to go.
What happened? He's okay.
What's that?
Let him sleep. Let him.
All right, Gonzalo, I'm gonna mute you, man, because we hear the background noise. But anyway, we gotta go anyway. So shout out to everybody for joining us. Official, Mark, Recognize, Jimmy, Gonzalo, everybody who joined us with the super chat, the chat, everybody who watched. Glad you guys enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and hopefully the fight's good, so we can do a post-fight show, and we'll show up for that one. Continue discussing this great fight, and that's about it, Jimmy.
See you guys tonight, guys.
That's right. Have a good one, Jimmy. Thank you for joining us. As always, appreciate it. And that's about it. Shout out to the Iceman, Virtuoso, Alan R, Senpai, John, Jed Kyle, JD, Reese Mack, Mark Edwards, Alan R. I already said Alan R. Official Scorecard Boxing, Bobby Maney, DJ N1, Pure Sim, Blue Collar Sport TV, aka Delboy. Check out his second channel, by the way. He's reviewing a lot of the most infamous gore videos out there. So if you're into that type of stuff, go check it out. It's very, very disturbing, man. Very disturbing. Iceman, Uncle Burn Apostrophe, Infamous. Everybody, guys, you know who you are. Thank you for joining us. Jackson, aka Jonathan Morrison. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. Catch you on the next one. See you later on tonight. If the fight's good, hopefully it is. And that's about it. Shout out to you fellas. Take it easy.
BDA Boxing.